Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, Cabbage Head Fanfics. Back with amazing fanfiction. This is the series of What If Deku Becomes Vigilante Karma? Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. Nizu POV. I was about to give my staff one of the most important lectures they would need as teachers. It was crucial for them to be mindful of students and to watch out for red flags. Just because a child seems happy doesn't mean they aren't struggling beneath the surface. I had discovered a student who appeared to be the happiest child at first, but upon closer examination, I noticed numerous red flags that he skillfully concealed. After spotting the first sign, I couldn't believe my eyes. I doubted it was a true indicator at first. However, as I continued my observations, more signs became apparent, aided by research that I had previously overlooked. This child had mastered the art of deception. I had called all my staff members and Tsukachi after school to deliver this lecture. Tsukachi and the guest of honor had yet to arrive. I planned to conduct the lecture in the presence of the very student in question. In just a few weeks, the happiest kid I knew had transformed into a walking collection of red flags. I was curious to see how he would react. He was always kind to others, helping them with their problems, and he never seemed to have any issues himself. I wanted to understand why he felt the need to pretend everything was fine and go to such lengths to hide his struggles. Would he admit it openly, deny it, or perhaps even try to escape the situation? I doubted he would. Yagi, Nizu, what are we waiting for? Me, I want to give a lecture on red flags, and we're not at full capacity yet. Aizawa, who's missing? Me, Tsukachi, and a student. Recovery girl, a student? Me, I want to use the student as an example. Aizawa, that's why you called Tsukachi, to confront the boy if he has red flags. Hound dog, this should be handled quietly and not in front of several people. It can leave scars on mental health. Me, I'm sure that won't happen. The child shows no signs of instability. After Tsukachi arrives, I announce that the student should come in. Kiyama, how is Midoriya supposed to show red flags? Hound dog, he is the most stable student. Me, he's a talented manipulator, actor, and very good at deception. Aizawa, I don't think so. Izuku POV. A speaker just announced that I need to go to a room. Nizu said it over the intercom. I head there with my umbrella in hand, wondering what this could be about. If it's from Nizu, it can't be good. Nizu, now that everyone is gathered, I can start. What the? I just opened the door, and the entire UA staff is gathered, along with Detective Tsukachi. Everyone except Nizu looks as confused as I feel. Nizu, you can stay right here as an example. Me, do I want to know what for? Nizu, you're about to find out. Nizu chirps with anticipation. Nizu, this lecture is very important. It's about hidden red flags that someone might show. Just because they aren't obvious doesn't mean they're not there or harmless. Oh no. Hound dog, how is he supposed to show red flags? Me, yeah, what am I here for? Nizu, if you want to keep denying it, let's discuss the fact that you wear a strong scent meant to neutralize human odors, which has a hint of citrus. Me, what does that have to do with? Nizu, do you really think I can't smell the traces of smoke, alcohol, and something more concerning? My keen sense of smell is part of my quirk. Everyone falls silent and turns to look at me. Oh no. Nizu, let's not forget that at first glance, you appear to be someone who doesn't care much about their appearance. I know what he's implying. He can't do this. I have to stop him. Me, are you trying to tell me how I should look? My voice sounds more arrogant than I intended, something none of the staff members would expect from me. Nizu, are you trying to interrupt my presentation? As I was saying, you present yourself as someone who doesn't care about looks. Your hair could even be described as unkempt, yet you use a lot of makeup. You don't use it to change your face shape or to cover your freckles. The photos of you as a child and how you are now are identical. You've always had freckles. You're using makeup to appear normal, to hide something. I would guess it's wounds or bruises. Izuku POV. Aizawa, why didn't you say anything? Is there any other evidence? Nizu, there are several indicators. The oversized UA uniform that covers your arms and hands so we can't see if there's anything there. The fact that you've never visited Recovery Girl injured. About 60% of students come to Recovery Girl daily, while others come every 2 days. These numbers are just for Class 1B. In Class 1A, the numbers are much higher. Almost no student has gone without a visit to Recovery Girl. Recovery Girl, that's true, I've never seen him come in. Aizawa, he's also not the type to be particularly careful, he's always reckless. You're talking like I'm not here. Why was I called if this is happening? Nizu, he shows a particularly high tolerance for pain, as he knows how to hide his wounds behind a smile. Me, I just don't get hurt, I'm lucky. I'm not hiding anything. Nizu, oh really? Then please explain why you're carrying that umbrella and leaning on it. It isn't raining, and you're holding it as if your life depends on it. You're using the umbrella like a crutch. I fall silent as all the UA staff looks at me in shock. They probably didn't expect that. Nizu, you're hurt right now, and you're just not showing it by using the umbrella. Me, it's not my fault my bones are fragile. Nizu, then why don't you go to Recovery Girl? Or are you afraid she'll find other injuries, ones that aren't from training? Or scars that might indicate abuse? Me, it's none of your business what happens to me or whether I'm safe at home. Nizu, it's not just about your safety at home, it's evident. The slight trembling of your right hand when you fight during hero training suggests you might be experiencing trauma. Almost only those with a history of violence tremble in a fight. Red flags can be well hidden and not immediately noticeable, so it's essential to always look out for students showing any concerning signs. Midoriya tried to mask his feelings with a smile, ensuring that no one would suspect anything troubling was happening in his life. Great lecture, can I go now? I asked, glancing around at the UA staff. Tsukachi's gaze was particularly intense. Nizu spoke up, perhaps you've noticed that not everyone here is part of the UA staff. We have a detective present, and I didn't invite him for no reason. You have a choice, either you tell the detective what's happening at home, or you go to Recovery Girl for a checkup. Panic surged through me. How could I explain that my home life was fine without revealing the red flags? I wasn't abused, not in the traditional sense. For that to be true, my mother would have to be alive. I couldn't just say, hey, I'm the #1 vigilante, the one you've been chasing for years. Can you believe a quirkless kid has been outsmarting all of you pro heroes? No, that wouldn't work. Aizawa had been pursuing me for years. He'd be furious to discover that the infamous vigilante Karma was one of his own students. I needed to start by explaining how I ended up in this situation. Who would be reckless enough to be a vigilante while being hunted by the entire UA staff? It felt like a suicide mission. And to make matters worse, I was quirkless. A double suicide mission. But isn't it true that many quirkless people my age struggle with dark thoughts? What is life without a bit of excitement? I had always been told I couldn't be a hero, so I became a vigilante to prove everyone wrong. Getting into UA was a significant step for me, and being a vigilante had served as excellent training. You might wonder why I didn't just stop being a vigilante now that I had proven myself. The answer is simple. Most vigilantes do what they do because they want to help others, not for fame or fortune. Vigilantes rarely receive recognition. I genuinely want to help people. I still can't comprehend how I became the #1 vigilante. There are so many better ones out there. Now, let me tell you how this whole mess began. I started as just a quirkless loser, and still am, and now I'm the top vigilante who has outsmarted all the heroes, making it impossible for Nizu to find me while I stood right in front of him. I gave the phrase, so close yet so far, a whole new meaning. It all began like any other day filled with bullying, which was typical for a quirkless person. I received flowers, letters, and harsh words daily at school. You might think flowers are nice, but these were spider lilies, accompanied by letters urging me to end my life and dreams, along with threats that if I didn't take action, others would do it for me. What could I say? What can a quirkless person say? People can be so wrong. You think you know someone your whole life, but then the brutal reality hits, and you realize you don't know them at all. They have dark sides you would never suspect, hidden thoughts they keep secret. To truly know someone? That's just an illusion. You only see the mask they wear. But as a quirkless person, no one cares about my thoughts. They can say and do anything without fear of damaging their reputation. So, I'm the perfect target for their anger? What a thought. Everyone tells me I can't be a hero, including my mom. When was the last time I saw her? I can't recall. She always leaves and comes back, but never stays long enough to explain where she's been. She's gone more often than she's home, earning money in ways I suspect aren't always legal. After a few exhausting hours of school, I find myself on the roof, close to the edge, eating my lunch. I enjoy the breeze and imagine leaping across rooftops like Eraserhead, my favorite hero. He doesn't seek fame or fortune. He dresses down to avoid attention and often fights without using his quirk, staying out of the media spotlight. Suddenly, a few older students appear. Have you finally decided to jump? One asks. It's about time, another chimes in. You're so stupid that alone should be a reason for you to jump, says another. I retort, if I had to jump for being stupid, someone like you should have done it years ago. I don't know how your parents can stand someone like you. You literally have straw in your head. But look at you still alive. You're so oblivious to your own stupidity. The students stare at me, stunned. Chill, bro. He's just giving you good advice. What else is there for you? Being quirkless only causes problems for everyone. I thought you had a quirk. Turns out, you're just a baby. I thought crying was your quirk. That was a good one, another student laughs. I shoot back. I thought your quirk was daddy issues. Turns out that's not your quirk, but it seems to be the only thing you can do. How ironically, says the one who doesn't have a dad, he fires back. How ironically, says the one who has no life, I counter. Shut up, idiot, another student snaps. One of us is smarter than you, I say. Me, he claims. Idiot, I reply. You clearly only have 2 brain cells, and both are fighting for 3rd place, I quip. Don't underestimate me, he warns. It's impossible to underestimate you, I retort. If you ever had a clever thought, it died alone and afraid. Student 2, cough cough. Me, I could blow into your ear and you would say thank you for the refill. Student 1, whispering, why is this so true? Me, where brains were given, you stood in line for a nose. Student 3, that's enough. I'll show you where your place is. He runs towards me, and I try to avoid him, but he uses his quirk to move faster. When he reaches me, he pushes me off the roof with all his strength. I'm falling. If this is my last day, I will have my end like this. From an idiot who pushes me off a roof. That's absurd. I don't want to die like that. I want my end to be something memorable, something that lingers in people's minds for years. Fortunately, my relatively long life did not end that day. 10 years can feel long, especially for someone without a quirk. I got caught in a tree that broke my fall. So I didn't die. Izuku POV. This event has opened my eyes. I have to be faster. I need to train. If I want to be a hero, I can't just wish to save people. I have to prepare. I need combat skills. Otherwise, I can't be a hero. I want to save people. The world has been cruel to me, and I want to help others so they don't have to endure the same. Everyone deserves a chance to live. I'm on my way home after shopping with the little money I have left. I bought groceries, but my funds are dwindling. I might need to get a part-time job again to afford food. The streets are empty. After school, I went to the shop with bruises. Why does Kakin have to beat me up so often? I'm a person like him, but somehow I'm not in his eyes. This seems normal for someone without a quirk. If I don't learn to defend myself soon, I will never be a hero. A scream. The streets are empty, but I hear the scream clearly. I'm running in the direction of the sound. There it is. The hero killer is the last person I would have expected. There is a hero on the ground. Leave him alone. The hero killer turns around in surprise. He probably didn't expect anyone to be here, especially someone who would try to stop him. Hero killer, he deserves to die. He is not a true hero. He points to the hero on the ground. I recognize him immediately. He has cancelled many patrols to take photos with fans and often goes for interviews. He has let people down by not putting himself in danger. His quirk can blind someone for a few seconds, but he doesn't use it effectively or train it much. Me, nobody deserves to die. Except maybe me. Hero killer. Did those he let die deserve to die? They were just citizens who wanted to be saved. But he let them die. What kind of hero does that and then plays the victim in front of the media? Me. He may have let those people die, but he has made many speeches advocating for the protection of those with weaker quirks. He has donated to orphanages for children with weak quirks and is committed to schools for them. Hero killer. He only did that because he has a weak quirk himself. His actions are more about gaining fame than genuine concern. Unlike other heroes who avoid the spotlight, he chases after it. Me. His reasons don't matter as long as he helps. There are many with far worse intentions. He has reduced quirk discrimination by 8%. It may seem small, but since All Might became a hero, discrimination has increased by 87%. And All Might did nothing about it. Hero killer, don't talk about All Might like that. Me, I'm only stating facts. Hero killer, All Might has saved so many lives, unlike him. And destroyed lives. Has he seen the damage caused in hero-villain battles? Me, All Might has saved people. And he. I point to the hero who is nearly powerless. Me, tried to help people. Hero killer. Did he ever say anything to those with villainous quirks or to quirkless individuals? No, he spoke poorly of them. He doesn't deserve to live. He just wants to escape and doesn't care about your life. He only wants to survive. Me, what makes you think that wasn't my plan before you realized it? Hero killer, so you wanted to risk your life for this trash? By distracting someone who could kill you at any moment? Me, would that someone kill me? Hero killer, I've heard many people claim to be smart and use complicated words to sound intelligent. But your words in this situation, I don't know if I should call it brave or naive. Me, he is a good person and has helped many. Hero killer, are you someone with a weak quirk? Is that why you defend this hero so passionately? Me, admiration has nothing to do with protecting. Hero killer, the man was against villainous quirks and quirkless people. In his pride, he would likely ask someone with a non-villainous quirk to be killed. But here comes karma. He will have to face someone with a villain quirk in his final moments. Me, how ironic that someone with a villainous quirk wants to kill, while someone who is quirkless wants to help him. Stain looks at me as if I were an unsolvable mystery that irritates him more with each passing second. Stain, you still want to protect him. Me, nobody deserves to die because of their actions. He's just a person like. I close my eyes as a light hurts them. Stain, what a hero you are, using your quirk against someone who wants to help you just because he is quirkless. Your time has come. Izuku POV. Before I could stop him, he plunged his katana into the hero's chest. Me, I'm afraid that his pride has blinded him. Stain, you just witnessed the person you wanted to protect with your life die right in front of you. And make word games instead of being sad? Me, it has already happened. I could rush to him and try to help, but I'll take out my bandages and show him. Me, that why should I bandage a lifeless body? I can't really help him, and if I had screamed, I would only have attracted unwanted attention. Stain, you consider everything very carefully before doing anything. Me, I'm quirkless, everything I do feels like a mistake. My very existence is often seen as a mistake. So I have the habit of trying to do everything as right as possible, even if they blame me for everything. Stain, who do you mean by they? Me, almost the whole world. Stain, is this blame sometimes physical? Is that also why you have the bandages? Me, of course it is physical. That's also why I'm not afraid of you. I'm sure you can relate. After experiencing a certain level of hardship, things don't seem as bad anymore. It's as if I've grown accustomed to my own life. Stain, would you like to become a hero or take revenge on the world? Me, how would you know I wouldn't choose, for example, a boring office job? What gives you the idea that I will become a hero or vigilante? Stain, I don't know you well, but I can see you're not suited for a normal job. A regular person with a normal job wouldn't stand in front of me now and speak to me like this. Me, being quirkless and having a normal conversation. Normal for me is lying in my own puddle of blood. Stain, you need help. Me, There is no help for quirkless people. Why seek therapy for those who fade quickly and have a high rate of despair? I want to become a hero because I want to help people. I want to be a small light in this dark world. Stain, you won't make it. Me, I know. Stain looked a bit puzzled. Stain, people with good intentions often get lost in the crowd. Ethically, morally, no one cares even a bit. For example, Eraserhead, hardly anyone knows him, and he has always had good intentions. Me, his name is Shota Aizawa. He is married to another hero, has 2 adopted children, and teaches at UA. He has expelled almost every student. Stain, that's what you say to a hero killer? Me, you brag about him, so you won't kill him. His katana was dangerously close to me. Stain, after you call the police, provide as few details as possible. Me, what gives you the idea that I will call the police? Stain, you won't? Me, someone else will find him. Stain, why not you? Me, if I do that, my mother will have to be informed. She is almost never around and often disappears for weeks or months. I don't want her to have problems because of neglect. We both stepped out of the alley. Stain, who caused these injuries? Me, the world. Stain, how often does this happen? Me, does it even matter? Do you count how often you breathe? You just know you'll always breathe until the end. That's exactly how my injuries are. I will always have them until my end. Stain, child, listen to me. The public may detest you. No one will know you, and you won't be a famous. Stain, but that doesn't mean you can't be a hero. Being a hero doesn't just mean having a license. It means saving people and doing everything possible to ensure justice. Me, thank you. I looked at him and smiled. Me, see you around. Stain, I prefer audio messages, but I'm afraid we'll meet again. Does he really think I can become a hero? I'm just fast and nothing more. But I have to be something else. I can bring food to people. I don't even have money to buy food myself. But I have a lot of stamina. It takes a lot to be able to run away from Kaken, who uses his quirk to be faster. So that means maybe I can use my speed. My kicks can also be quite strong. So being a vigilante wouldn't be such a bad choice. Right? I'm quirkless. The laws that make being a vigilante illegal deal with illegal quirk usage, attacking someone, and carrying lethal weapons. So when I don't have a quirk, no one can say that I used it. If I wait until I'm attacked and just interfere, then it's self-defense. A pocket knife is not against the law. Only firearms and daggers. My conclusion is clear. I'll be a vigilante. Wow, the day is behind me when I almost died, met a hero killer, and was told by him that I can be a hero. The day is behind me. Great, a new one starts tomorrow. At a table, I poke around in my food. It is cold. Mom is still not here. I imagine what it is like to have a family all together at one table, warm food, kind words, a warm home. People see a home as something where family is. It feels like home. For me, home is just a place with a roof over my head. What else can I expect? I go to sleep thinking. It's cold in the apartment. I get up and check that all the windows are closed. I'm sure there's a simple explanation for this cold. The absence of family, friends, or someone you care about is the reason. I see all the windows are closed. What could be causing this cold? Have I become cold? Tired, I go to bed. The next day will begin, and probably events like this will repeat themselves in one way or another. I probably won't meet Stain again or a person who says I can be my hero, but I will see the darker side of the world again. And it will happen again and again. Shouldn't I have gotten used to life at some point? Why does the very thought terrify me? I probably didn't tell Stain the truth. I'm not used to living. I'm just not afraid. You're afraid when you have something to lose. But when you've lost everything and continue to lose more, where is the fear? Why should I be afraid of what can happen if I can't lose anything anymore? People fear that something might happen, that something might be destroyed, a future, a person, or a thing, but I lost it all by the time I was 4, and I gave up more and more things. Fear is a foreign word to me. At school, why didn't I expect this? Our English teacher assigned us the task of writing a letter to a person who is important to us, who we have rarely seen, a good friend. When the teacher said that, he looked at me. Thank you very much. Is this lesson just to make fun of me? You're supposed to write to someone you don't see every day, a classmate for example, about family that lives with you and that you see every day. You're not supposed to write, the teacher said, looking directly at me. And I don't want any made-up friends. Do you understand, Midoriya? What does he think? That I'm a little kid? That I'm thinking about friends? I don't need friends. Why would I need people to betray me? Kaken and I were best friends, and look where we are now. Me and Kaken, anything but best friends. Logically, my mom is hardly ever home. Can I write her a letter or my dad? I've changed my mind. I'll write Karma a letter. I hardly ever see Karma. He was never there, and nothing happens to the others who do something to me. So I can write a letter to Karma. The teacher never said that we have to send the letter. Dear Karma, you have forgotten some people. If you want, I can send you the names. Yes, that's a good start. I see the teacher coming towards me. I know it immediately. He's up to no good. He looks at my paper and then takes it off the table. You write to Karma. Do you think the world isn't being fair to you or what? Karma is actually here all the time and takes revenge on you. Everybody hating you is Karma's revenge because you were born without a quirk. Your birth probably caused your mother so much pain because you had to be born quirkless. So you are at the top of the list for Karma, for causing your mother so much pain. Take everything that happens badly to you as direct karma for your existence. I'm just stunned and look at the teacher. He looks back and grins. Let Karma get him. Let him face the consequences. Wasn't he supposed to support students? Who can I expect that from? From someone like him? If I live long, I will have to wait a long time. I believe you are the first name on the list of Karma. I'm sure that Karma actually hates you. And enjoyed it when your family disinherited you. It would be better if you could mess with adults and not with kids while you are 7 times older. I'm not that old, I'm in my mid-40s. Who would believe that? You might be closer to that would be more credible. Or has Karma hit you too? Are you a 70-year-old who believes he is 40? Go to the principal's office now. I would like to be as far as I can from you and your bad breath. With that, I get up and go to the principal's office. Ah, you again? What have you done this time to make you come here? I'm starting to get a headache just by looking at you. It wasn't my fault. Really? It's not my fault that your coworkers dislike you so much that they keep bringing me to you so they don't have to deal with me. You're not in the right situation to talk to me like that. Oh really? Are you in the right situation? Should we call your mom because you were on your cell phone without permission? It wasn't me. And if it was, then it's my cell phone. Did you pay for the cell phone? Yes, I did. I don't know what importance this has for you. It's not yours if you don't pay for it. It's your mother's cell phone. I can do whatever I want with my cell phone. You can't do what you want with your mother's cell phone in the teacher's classroom. It's my teacher's classroom? Yes. Did he pay for it? That's enough. I'm going to report your behavior to your mother. I don't want to give in, but my mother isn't here. So what am I supposed to do? The teachers wouldn't care if I was neglected or not anyway. So I think it's okay. She's not going to pick up anyway. So what's the problem with that? You're welcome to call her if you want. Have fun wasting her time and yours because you can talk to me about my mom all you want. I still won't get a quirk in the end. Then what do you suggest? Quite simply, so that my presence doesn't disrupt the lesson. From now on, let me go to the school library during lessons. There's hardly anyone there, so teachers and students will have their peace and quiet. I suppose you mean that you will enjoy your time and read instead of being punished for your existence by being sent to your seat. Dear Principal, either you let me go to the library, or we can do this the hard way. Do you want to know how? Because even if I'm as useless as they say, I can create a lot of problems. Do you want to know what they are, or will you agree to the deal? Kid, the only thing you can do is disturb my eyes. How are you going to cause me problems without a quirk? If I can only cause problems when I have a quirk, why am I always in the principal's office without a quirk when those with quirks never cause problems to get here? Just take it. Compassion, friendship, and anything else positive a person can give you, you won't get. You're nothing better, and you never will be. The whole world hates you and other quirkless people. You'll only get acceptance from your own kind, so don't waste my time. Didn't you mention that your quirk is that you don't have blood running through your veins, but gasoline? What's that got to do with it? Just get it. Compassion, friendship, and anything else positive a person can give me I can't get. Positive things I can get from a person are approval, for example. So I have to put pressure on the person to agree with me and to get what I want. I take a match out of my pocket and light it. There are many ways to do this, so do you want to give me something positive that a person can give me, or do you want to face the consequences? We still have a choice. Think about your options to find the best one. I'm sure your little brain will take a long time to find a good option. Gasoline in the body and a bit of fire make an explosion. So I suggest, if you and your school don't want to face serious consequences, I'll spend the next few hours alone in the library. Principal. Me. Agreed? I twirl the lighter in my hands, feeling its heat close to my fingers, a grin spreading across my face. I must look a bit unhinged with the lighter in hand and the flickering flame reflecting in my eyes. Principal, go to the library but get out of my sight. I blow out the match. Me, it was nice negotiating with you. Wow, he really doesn't get it. The tiny flame from the match wouldn't have been enough to harm him, especially with his reckless attitude. Chapter End. Izuku POV. I thought I should become an information vigilante. It's like a regular vigilante, but focused solely on gathering information, which I could sell for money or share with other vigilantes. I could gather intel on villains and analyze other vigilantes too. This way, I could build contacts, earn money, and do what I enjoy most, research and hacking. I could even pass information to the police. This would enhance my analytical skills, as understanding vigilantes and villains is far more complex than dealing with the heroes who are always on TV. Villains tend to keep their identities hidden. Heroes, on the other hand, are often featured in shows and merchandise. They do interviews, while villains typically operate under the cover of night. It's strange, heroes patrol during the day, while villains commit their crimes in the shadows. There are only a few exceptions, like Eraserhead. I crafted my own costume. It features a hat with 2 green feathers resembling rabbit ears. I wear a white mask with a black smile and 2 large tears. The mask can be interpreted as either crying or laughing, depending on how one looks at it. I've always viewed crying as a weakness, so I've hidden my tears behind a smile. I think this mask suits me well. I prefer clothing that stands out, so I chose black and green, paired with my familiar red shoes that I've worn since childhood. Of course, I wear gloves too. I take a moment to look at myself. In this costume, I appear much older. In reality, I'm just a kid who had to grow up quickly. My outfit makes me look like I'm in my early 30s, but my size gives away my true age. Still, there are small adults out there. I also need a voice changer. I don't want my youthful voice giving me away. What should my name be? That's a tough one. It should have meaning. Heroes often have names that reflect their quirks. Midnight can induce sleep, Cementos explains his quirk with his name, and Recovery Girl's name reveals her ability right away. Eraserhead's name mirrors his quirk, and Snipe is straightforward as well. I could go with something like Useless or Deku, but Kaken would catch on immediately. I want to help people against the evils of the world, to ensure justice. I want to embody the karma that seems absent in reality. Why not call myself Karma? It's a cool name that carries meaning without revealing too much about me. Yes, I am Karma. Real karma is rarely seen. People often act without remorse. I'll make sure that wrongdoers face consequences. I won't be the symbol of peace, but rather a symbol of justice. Where should I start? Maybe with training? And building contacts to sell information. Chapter End. Izuku POV. For years. 4 whole years have passed since I took on the role of an information vigilante, and the job is going better than I expected. I have enough money now. My mom has been showing up less frequently. Whenever I see her, she looks pale, with white hair and a stressed demeanor. I haven't learned much about her situation, but I suspect she's in debt to the wrong people, which worries me greatly. Each time I see her, I give her a large portion of the money I've collected. She accepts it quickly and thanks me briefly, but she never asks where I got the money, and I don't inquire about her absences. We've come to an unspoken agreement. My high pain tolerance is a significant asset in my vigilante work. Few have seen me, I usually remain hidden in the shadows. The only evidence of my presence is a note I leave behind each time I catch a villain. It details the crime they committed, along with information about their identity, quirk analysis, gang affiliations, and crime specifics. I always have a comprehensive report on the villain's eye. Capture. Tonight, I'm facing a serial killer who has claimed 450 victims and was about to take his 451st before I intervened. His quirk causes the victim's skin to contract painfully, crushing bones and organs without tearing. It's an unsettling sight to witness the victim's eyes bulging from their sockets. However, the killer can only use his quirk if the victim makes a sound after he touches them. My body aches as I finish writing my note, but I realize I've run out of paper. I quickly grab my green clothing marker to continue. Dear Tsukachi, could you please ask my favorite hero, Eraserhead, if he can use his quirk on the killer? If he doesn't, I fear I won't survive this night. Please send my regards to Eraser. Despite his intimidating appearance, he's my favorite hero. With kind regards, Karma. P.S. Hurry up, I'm running out of breath and I won't stop until my patrol is over. If you don't want to deal with a body on the floor, please hurry up. I saw my note. The forehead of the culprit. Okay, now I can call the police. Wow, I've become really confident. Of course, I called Tsukachi from an anonymous number. Me. Hello, how is my favorite detective? Tsukachi. Karma? What is it this time? Me. A surprise. You didn't answer my question. Tsukachi. It would be great if there weren't a certain vigilante making my job difficult. Me overdramatic. Ouch, my feelings. You know that lying is bad. I make the work easier. Tsukachi, why does your voice sound so strange? Me, oh, I'm just slowly and painfully dying. How's your day? Tsukachi, what? Me, so the criminal is in the street, and I was the victim. Tsukachi, you have to go to a hospital. No. Why do you sound somehow proud to be the victim? Me, I was the only survivor of one of the most brutal crimes in history. I am honored. Tsukachi, let me guess, you won't go to the hospital. Me, of course not. What do you think of me? Tsukachi, sigh. Me, so until later, I have to end a patrol. Tsukachi, you want to go on B? I'm closing the call. Of course, I can't rest. I promised a few people from a food stand for the homeless that I would distribute the food. I keep my promises, even if I can hardly breathe right now and might have a broken bone. Seriously, people would jump at the chance for this facelift opportunity. My skin has shrunk by inches, and blood runs down my neck. Nevertheless, I won't risk taking off my mask to wipe it away. Finally, I arrived at the food stand, and the friendly people handed me 6 bags. Izuku POV. I jumped from roof to roof, having found a few homeless people and given away all 6 bags. Now I only had 1 meal left to give. Then I could lie down in bed and wait until Eraserhead finally used his quirk on the villain. Speaking of the devil, I saw his shadow leap from roof to roof until he settled on one. Why not have a conversation with him? No hero has seen me so far, only my quick shadow and a few descriptions. I smiled mischievously. Slowly, I approached the building and climbed up the fire ladder. I was behind him now. Oh, this is going to be fun. Me, hello, my dear homeless person. Would you like something to eat? Eraserhead jumped, looking at me with a mix of bewilderment, confusion, and exhaustion. Eraserhead, I'm not a homeless person, I'm a pro-hero. Me, if that's true, I'm Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and a vigilante all at once. Eraserhead, I don't know about being Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny, but I know what you do violates the rules and is vigilantism. Me, Santa Claus, perhaps. Do you want the food or not? You look like you need it. Eraserhead, you can choose the hard or easy way to land in the police station. Me, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger, so I'll take the hard way. Eraserhead, I gave you a chance. He reached for his scarf and I jumped out of the way. The scarf missed me. Eraserhead prepared to use his quirk. I seized the moment he initiated his second attack with the scarf to counter. He probably didn't expect a box of food to fly into his face. The box that looked like a yogurt container was actually soup. It fell to the ground and burst open. Eraserhead, sigh. Seriously? The second meal flew right at his face as he looked up from the floor. Each meal had 3 parts: soup, spaghetti bolognese, and a dessert of chocolate pudding. The box exploded on Eraserhead's face, leaving him covered in spaghetti. Me, enjoy your meal. Eraserhead, I've had many things thrown at me, even unusual items, but food? Really? Me, I'm just original. Eraserhead, you're annoying in an original way. Me really? That's so nice, thank you. Do you want the pudding too? Eraserhead, don't you dare. I prepared for my throw, but I forgot that I was affected by his quirk. Instead of my skin ripping too tightly, my bones broke. A loud crack echoed, and a sharp pain jolted through me. Eraserhead, what just happened? How could you break a bone so easily? The cracking had been loud, and it was clear it was a bad break. Eraserhead, that didn't sound good. If you come peacefully with me to the police station, you'll get medical help. Splash. An annoyed pro-hero glared at me, chocolate pudding dripping from his face, along with spaghetti. Eraserhead. Me, language Eraserhead. I felt a twinge of guilt. Eraserhead was just tired and trying to do his job, and here I was making it difficult for him. The police didn't even have an accurate description of me. Would it be so foolish to reveal my name? My vigilante name, of course. Me, Eraserhead, you deserve a little karma after expelling your whole class. I saw the wheels turning in his head. Eraserhead, karma. Me, nice to meet you in person. Eraserhead, I always knew you were a problematic person, and it turns out you are. Really? His phone rang. Eraserhead, I'm going, it's important. He said quickly after glancing at the screen. Eraserhead, on the call, hello? Me, hide the evidence. Eraserhead shot me a look that clearly said he wanted to expel me from existence. Eraserhead listened to the caller, and his expression grew more worried. He looked at me with wide eyes. Eraserhead, you need to get to the nearest hospital as fast as possible. Me, Pa, hospitals are for weaklings. By Favorite Detective by Eraserhead. And please hurry, I kind of feel like I'm dying right now. I threw a smoke bomb and disappeared, hearing a few curses behind me. Izuku POV. I lay in bed in pain. After a while, I finally felt my skin loosen, as if someone had removed a few chains from me. I wouldn't be able to show up at school tomorrow. I had to bandage my left arm and my right leg. I made a splint out of metal tubes and wrapped white bandages tightly around them. I could manage to walk with the bandages tied very tightly, but I would have to postpone my vigilante work for at least a week. Why did I have to be so stubborn? I promised myself I wouldn't do this again. But deep down I knew I would. After bandaging my injuries, I decided to look for information about villains and heroes. Sleep felt impossible with the pain keeping me awake. I needed pain medication, but that meant navigating the stairs with my injured leg. No, I'd rather endure the discomfort. Typing with one hand was challenging, so I opted to watch videos of heroes and jot down notes with my good right hand. An hour later, just as I was about to write the last bit of information, a chilling scream echoed from downstairs. Was that Mom? Had she returned? I had come in through the window and hadn't heard anything. What was that scream? I struggled to my feet and limped toward the door. When I opened it wide, the smell of blood hit me like a wave. Silence enveloped the space. I could hear heavy footsteps approaching. What was happening? My mom was small. This presence felt far too menacing to belong to her. I descended the stairs and froze at the sight of my mom lying on the floor, her body marred by multiple wounds. Her eyes were wide open, staring blankly into nothingness. A man was rummaging through our house. I felt a surge of rage. I would make him pay. But killing him wouldn't solve anything. He likely had accomplices who would come looking for him. I needed to instill fear instead. If I called the police, he would go to jail, and I would be left without a parent. I couldn't call the police. I quietly grabbed a knife from the kitchen, moving as stealthily as I could despite my injury. Thankfully, the kitchen was on a different floor from where my mom lay. I returned, and the man was still distracted, his back turned to me as he rifled through drawers. I cleared my throat. I suggest you leave before you end up next to my mom. He turned around, and I forced a bitter smile while gripping the knife. A child can't scare me, he sneered, his already dangerous aura darkening further. A coward can't scare me, I shot back, stepping over my mother's body. You messed with the wrong family. He pulled out a gun and aimed it at me. Don't you dare move unless you want a bloody hole in your head. Oh, I dare you to move. Now tell me what my mother did to deserve such a quick end. So this woman is your mother? He asked, his tone mocking. Are you deaf? I already said she was my mom. What did she do? I demanded. She betrayed our organization. She was a traitor. Money drove her. Money drives everyone. I don't know who you are, but you must be getting paid by your organization to kill someone. I spat the words at his feet. Don't you dare talk about our organization like that. It is trash. Your organization is trash. Just like you will be when I'm done with you. His anger flared. Don't dare talk about our organization like that. Suddenly, my hidden aura became palpable. While others learned to fight, I had mastered the art of control. My boiling anger and bloodlust were palpable, creating an atmosphere that was suffocating. I had practiced long enough to know how to make my presence overwhelming. The man dropped his weapon and fled, panic etched across his face. He even left behind a device that crackled to life with a woman's voice. Roderick, can you hear me? Did you find the key? Take it to the command center. Nirvana out. Was the woman or the organization called Nirvana? It didn't matter, they both would pay. Izuku's POV. It was hard to go to school, smiling and pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. My foot and arm were still healing, but at least I could walk without limping, even if it hurt when I didn't. My bones felt fragile. I found insults on my desk, along with red spider lilies. I grabbed my things and headed to the library. At least I didn't have to sit in class anymore. It was just boring. The library, with its vast collection, was a treasure trove of knowledge. I loved stories about forests and books filled with facts. I devoured every book I could find when I was younger. I read quickly, and this library was a paradise, completely empty and all mine. After hours of browsing, the bell rang, signaling the end of my time there. No, it was over too soon, leaving so many books behind. I walked through the school corridor and spotted Kaken, who seemed to be waiting for me. Great. I wasn't in the mood for this. Not that I ever was, but now, with my injuries, I felt even less inclined. I still had my vigilant work to do. I didn't have time for childish games. But I knew if I didn't confront him, it would only get worse. Yet I had no energy. Should I escape through the window? Would that be a good plan? Kaken couldn't do anything worse than what I was already facing. So, I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Kaken smirked. Oh, hello, who's that crossing our path? It felt like a coincidence that I happened to cross paths with him. This was frustrating. Why did it always have to be just me and him? I wanted to lash out, to choke him with his own attitude until he couldn't breathe. I always had to be perfect to be seen as normal. I didn't want that. I didn't want any of this at school. I smile, pretending it's perfectly fine to want to confront someone. Everything is all right, or so I tell myself. I would stand up to him. It's fine. Or is it? Everything feels off. Of course, I didn't just walk away unscathed. I'm quirkless, and Kaken is Kaken. I needed a few more bruises on my face for everyone to see. Oh, how I love my life. I cherish it as much as Eraserhead loves teaching. I'm sitting on the floor, feeling defeated. Kaken, if you want to be a hero, get up and keep fighting. A fight is when two people are exchanging blows. If one is just hitting the other, it's a beating. I choose to stay seated. What's the point? I'll always be seen as the underdog. I'm not just fighting Kaken. I'm battling against the entire world, which seems determined to throw more obstacles in my path. Kaken, stand up and fight like a hero. I remain still. Kaken, fight. Deku, fight. I'm exhausted. Kaken, and you want to be a hero? Me, why do you think I want to be a hero? This dream only brings me pain. Kaken looks at me, and I see something in his eyes that feels painful. It can't be. Kaken, if you're really as hopeless as you claim, then why not just give up? You won't do it. You're just seeking attention, useless Deku. If Deku means useless, why does he keep repeating it? Useless. Useless. It makes no sense, just like his life. On my way home, I suddenly sense a presence I hadn't felt before. As I walk through a tunnel, I feel as though I'm being followed. The atmosphere shifts dramatically. Something slimy wraps around my left foot, and my right foot is injured, causing me to stumble. I try to shake off the villain. It's the sludge villain who chooses a person to wear like a costume. It can't be me. I still have my own battles to fight. An idea flashes in my mind. Before the sludge villain can fully capture me, I shout out. Me, I'm quirkless. I've read that the sludge villain usually targets those with strong or flashy quirks, not someone like me. Maybe he just wants to live a normal life, treated like everyone else. After all, he's a person with a quirk too, albeit a villainous one. The villain hesitates. Villain, DMN it. He drops me to the ground and retreats. That was surprisingly easy, but he still managed to hurt me more than I already was. I wipe the slime and dust off my face and body, looking up to see All Might. All Might, I am here. He rushes toward me and, in a moment of confusion, accidentally knocks me down. Me, why me? Later, I slowly regain consciousness, trying to piece together what happened. All Might, are you really telling me you punched a kid in the face just because you thought he might be the sludge villain? All Might, yeah. Have you forgotten how poor your instincts are? They're worse than the Todoroki's theories. You just punched a kid in the face. All Might, maybe that wasn't a good idea? Maybe? Just maybe? I look over to see Detective Tsukachi, my favorite detective, along with All Might. Tsukachi, did you really have to hurt that boy so badly? He was already injured and had self-made prosthetics. He also had burns. And now you've given him a concussion. Nice work, hero. All Might, there was a chance he was being used by the sludge villain. Tsukachi, and that chance was very small. You didn't have to go that far. The sludge villain was later reported elsewhere. The kid did nothing. Me, yeah, I didn't. Tsukachi, what? Oh, good lord. Tsukachi jumps in surprise, landing in the arms of Sansa, the cat officer, which looks quite amusing. The officer catches him, but they both tumble to the ground. Me, Pfff. I realize I'm sitting in a chair. All Might, sorry my boy. Me, it's all right. Tsukachi, since you just woke up, can you tell me your name? Me, Izuku Midoriya. Tsukachi, so, Midoriya, why do you have so many injuries? Me. How am I supposed to explain how I got them? Me, training. In reality, I was training to become a better vigilante. The more you practice, the better you get. So, it's training. Tsukachi, training? What should I say now? Me, training to be a good hero. Just not the conventional kind. I smile at Tsukachi. Tsukachi, good thing your career didn't end before it even began. Because of someone. He glances at All Might. All Might, sorry. Tsukachi, why do you have so many wounds? How can you get burns from training? Yes, why indeed? Me, I don't have to answer that. Tsukachi, oh you do, mister. Me, heroes must have a high pain tolerance. I'm quirkless, so I need to learn to endure pain if I want to be a hero. All Might, you can't be a hero without a quirk. You can dream, but you need to be realistic. Quirkless people have fewer rights. Tsukachi, I'm sorry for what happened to you, and you're free to go. We've consulted a healer, so you shouldn't have any more injuries. He seems in a hurry. As I walk away, I hear a light slap. Did Tsukachi just slap All Might? That's why he's my favorite detective. Maybe Kaken doesn't like me. Maybe my class doesn't like me. Maybe the world doesn't like me after all. Let's be clear, Kaken doesn't like me. My class doesn't like me. The world seems to favor karma. Even if karma is just a shadow only Eraserhead has seen, and nobody knows who karma is, there are already some fans. I head to the bathroom to clean up. I can't think about the blood in my house. I need to do something about it. I can't just carry a bloody item or my mom's body out of the house. What would I say if a neighbor saw me? Hello, how are you? What am I doing? Oh, I'm just disposing of my mom's body. After a while, it really started to stink. And how was your day? Definitely not. My neighbors are going to call the police. Maybe if I put her belongings in a closed box, spray it with lots of perfume, and then bury it outside in the garden, they won't suspect anything. To say it was difficult is an understatement. Carrying the box around was not easy, and I had to dig a hole to bury it. All the neighbors who walked by gave me strange looks. It's not every day that you see a child burying a box in the front garden. At least people wouldn't really notice that they don't see my mom anymore. Wow, I've become very cold-blooded over time. Neighbor, what are you doing? I'm burying my closet. Neighbor, I can see that, but why? Yes, why did I say that? What should I tell him? I'm burying my dog. Neighbor, are you crazy? You want him to die. The dog is already gone. I'm just burying him and I couldn't find a coffin. Neighbor, I'm sorry about that. But I've never seen you walk a dog. Oh no. Why did I say dog? Why couldn't I have said cat? It's a stray dog I found on my doorstep. Poor thing, I felt sorry for him. Neighbor, I'm sorry. It's always hard to face the dead. Especially when it's your own mother. Sorry, Mom, for the comparison. The rest of the day, I cleaned the floor. The stains didn't want to leave the carpet. The intruder had searched through everything, leaving things scattered on the floor. There were a few marks on the walls. Next to the spot where my mom had been, I found a gun hidden under the couch. A second one. My mom had also had a gun and had tried to use it. It must have been knocked out of her hand. I wasn't there at the beginning. They must have shot, or I would have noticed. When I was there, researching heroes and bandaging my wounds, there had been no noise. Only later did I hear a scream. My mom's attacker didn't seem completely cold, as if he didn't care how he killed. The knife he used was ours. He may have knocked her unconscious after she tried to defend herself. When I arrived, the intruder was still, searching through everything, and it was quiet. When my mom woke up, he attacked her. Maybe she didn't give him a choice by fighting back. If only I had been downstairs, I could have helped her, and she would still be alive. It's my fault. If I had taken the pain pills and gone downstairs, things might have been different. It's all my fault. After All Might told me I couldn't be a hero, I decided to prove him wrong. I would show him my strength, courage, and confidence. I had trained, but I had also been hunting the Nirvana group. I discovered through some contacts that the group was spread out in the dark corners of Mizudafu. I searched for a long time and found out that their identification mark looked like this, a symbol of chaos. These people were ruthless, unlike the one who harmed my mom. I tracked some of them down and confronted them before handing them over to the police. I made sure they wouldn't get away easily. The best part was that I did it legally by not making the first move. I jumped from rooftop to rooftop. My wounds healed, but the pain remained. I even thought the side effects had doubled the pain. Still, I continued my pursuit. The Nirvana group had several command centers, and one didn't share information with the others. If someone found one, they wouldn't be able to locate all the others. But with the right people, you could find almost anything. Now I was on my way to one of the command centers. I had met a few informants who wanted to help, but I wanted to handle it on my own. I set up an automated call that would alert the police 2 hours after I entered the command center. It would take them another hour to arrive, so if I was in trouble, there would still be a chance to take down this group after I weakened them. I entered through the door, feeling a mix of fear and determination. The silence was unsettling. The Nirvana group had many members, and I needed to eliminate them one by one. I looked around, but there was only silence. Was it a trap? There were various labels on the doors: kitchen, basement, sick room, laboratory. I opened the door to the laboratory, my instincts telling me something was off. As I stepped inside, I saw a cage with a person inside, looking pale and exhausted. "I'm sorry, I'm really sorry," the person said, tears in their eyes. For a moment, I didn't understand, but then I realized what was happening. I turned around to see figures, no, robots pointing weapons at me. It was clever of them to use robots. They lacked the aura I could sense, but that didn't mean I couldn't defeat them. Over time, I had built several devices, one of which could emit electrosonic waves to disable cameras and other electronics. I was determined to show this group what I could do. I would take down every single robot with my bare hands. I smiled at the person in the cage, trying to reassure them. It'll be fine. I'll make sure this pile of junk won't last long. The smile I had given them turned into a determined grin as I faced the robots, ready to dismantle the metal threats before me. I quickly realized it was a bad idea to strike the metal directly. These robots were made of durable materials. But every robot has a weak point, often at the joints where one piece of metal ends and another begins. I struck the joint of one robot's arm, then delivered a powerful punch that knocked its head clean off. With a swift kick, it crumpled to the ground. I turn around, 1 is finished, and 12 are left. It's turning into a shootout, and I'm trying to keep my distance from the captive. I don't want them to get caught in the crossfire. I need to eliminate the robots a little faster. I pull out the device that emits electrosonic waves. For those with good hearing, it can cause discomfort, but they adapt over time. The robots, however, drop like flies. As the last of them falls, I see only pieces of metal left behind. I hurry to free the captive. Are there any more prisoners here? I ask. There should be more of us, but they were warned you were coming. They've been preparing for a week. You should call the police to save yourself, the person replies. Oh, I'll call the police, but later. I'm not here to save myself. I'm here to save others. Their lives matter more than mine. That's not right. All lives matter. Would this person say the same to someone without a quirk? I've always been told that a person with a quirk is valued more than someone like me. Mine feels useless. They don't know I have no quirk, or perhaps they're just wary of crossing me, which is amusing. It's funny how quickly people can change. This woman would probably have discriminated against someone like me, just like anyone else. I continued my exploration. Everything seemed abandoned, as if everyone had left in a hurry. I tried door after door, but each one was locked. It was pure luck that I found the first working door. A bad feeling settled in my stomach. They were prepared. I looked around, pulling on every door, but they were all locked tight, resembling the doors of a safe. I didn't even try to force them open. I knew I would only hurt myself. There was another door. I had a feeling it was the one that would open, but I suspected it was a trap. My instincts were rarely wrong. I approached the door quietly. Miraculously, unlike the others, this door opened. I stepped through, only to find a dark corridor waiting for me. I knew what they were planning. If I had survived the robots and wasn't lying dead on the ground, they wanted me to go through that corridor. It was narrow, and I wouldn't have room to dodge a bullet in the darkness. The person inside had to shoot 5 bullets, and I wouldn't be able to avoid them. What should I do? There was no other way, but it felt like a suicidal mission. Weren't most people my age reckless? I remembered there was a flashlight in the lab. I went back, finding utensils scattered as if the room had been abandoned in haste. It was impressive that they had known I was coming for weeks yet were still foolish enough to challenge me. I searched the room and found a lantern and a flashlight. I turned it on, relieved that the rear light worked. I slowly made my way back to the corridor door. I had locked it before to prevent anyone from escaping, but now I opened it and switched on the light. The person who wanted to shoot me would be blinded. I could still see everything. I spotted a man with a gun, pointing it in my direction, but he was shielding his eyes. Taking advantage of the moment, I rushed at him, kicked the gun from his hand and stepped back. I couldn't attack first. He had to make the first move for it to be fair. The man looked surprised, clearly underestimating me. Did he really think this would be easy? He drew a dagger at lightning speed, aiming for my face. I dodged, but while he was focused on my face, he landed a kick to my stomach. I realized he was playing dirty, but now that he had struck first, I had every right to fight back. Once I recovered from the kick, I unleashed a flurry of punches. He barely managed to dodge one. Blow after blow, I closed in on him. Did he really think we were on the same level? With one final punch to his stomach, I seized his wrist and slammed him down to the ground. That was easier than I expected. I looked at him lying there. I still had a long way to go. I couldn't blow up the whole place. That would be illegal. Suddenly, I heard a gunshot. Another shot. There were more shooters. Where were they? I quickly retrieved the flashlight and aimed it down the tunnel. Wait a minute, the person must have already shot. Bah! It hurt. I felt the pain hit me all at once. After a certain injury, the brain stops sending pain signals, flooding the body with adrenaline to escape the danger. But then the pain came crashing down. Phew! Another shot. My shoulder. I saw the shooter, firing blindly, hoping to hit something. I had to complete this mission just one day before the UA exam. The exam was tomorrow, and here I was, with 2 bullet wounds. Great. One day, just one day before the entrance exam, I was sent on a mission with many other heroes. The police had been alerted by a call about a criminal gang conducting illegal experiments. At first, I thought it was a routine mission. However, I soon learned that Karma had set a trap for us. However, Karma, in his usual reckless manner, kept running around to save others, not himself. If only some of my students could be a bit more heroic like him. Now it was about stopping an illegal gang and saving a vigilante from himself. Midnight and I had to enter the place through the main door while other heroes searched for alternative entrances. The place looked like something out of a horror movie. I would never have entered this place voluntarily. All the doors were locked, and Midnight and I took turns trying to open them. Finally, one door creaked open, revealing a large cage that was empty, surrounded by shattered remnants of robots. I listened through my headset, still in communication with Tsukachi. "What's the situation?" Tsukachi asked. "Clear so far," I replied. "So far? It looks like Karma was faster than us. Any injured? There are pieces of robots everywhere." "That's terrible. Are the robots still operational, or were they all destroyed?" Power Loader chimed in. I sighed. Midnight and I left the room and tried the other doors, but none opened. We would have to come back later. Suddenly, one door swung open. Midnight jumped back at the sound, and we peered inside, finding only darkness. Had Karma gone in there? "Midnight, go in first and use your quirk. If the hallway is as narrow as I fear, everyone inside should fall asleep," I instructed. "Do you think someone is lurking in there with a weapon, just waiting to attack?" "Either that or something worse." After Midnight used her quirk, we didn't hear any bodies falling. So either there was no one there, or they were prepared for the gas. We both stepped into the dark room. I could see relatively well, but there was no sunlight filtering in. A few steps inside, Midnight stumbled and fell. "There's a body on the floor," she said. I immediately checked for a pulse. "I didn't know you were so bold as to touch an unconscious person like that," she teased. I shot her a look. "When we're done with the mission, remind me to throw you out the window." "It was just a joke," she replied, rolling her eyes. "Not funny." We continued walking and eventually found another unconscious man. As I checked for a pulse, I noticed he was holding a gun. The thought that he could have used that gun against Karma was unsettling. Did the other man have a weapon too? I hadn't paid attention. I pressed on down the hallway to a large, round room with what looked like a spiky disco ball hanging from the ceiling. "Oh, Karma, you're at a party. Why wasn't I invited?" Midnight exclaimed. I finally spotted Karma, engaged in a fierce battle with several gang members. Unlike Karma, everyone else had guns in their hands, trying to shoot him. I watched as he expertly disarmed each attacker, taking hits but retaliating with swift strikes. It was strange that he was taking so many hits when he could easily defeat them. Was there a reason for his approach? Your so-called disco ball is a high-explosive bomb. Unless you want to be blown to bits, you and Eraserhead better get out of here, Karma warned. We're not leaving this room without you. It's our duty as heroes to protect others, I replied firmly. Protect me so you can take me to jail, huh? I noticed Midnight using her quirk and held my breath, moving away from the mist that surrounded her. Just then, I saw a woman aiming at the cloud with a gun and firing. I couldn't hear anything, but it was pure luck that the shot missed. However, I watched in horror as she prepared to shoot again. This time, the bullet found its mark, hitting Karma as he redirected the weapon aimed at the mist toward his shoulder. Thank you for saving Midnight, but he really needed to target the weapon away from himself. I understood the predicament. There was nowhere else to redirect the gun with barrels surrounding him, and I had no idea what was in those containers, whether it was toxic or explosive. Only 10 more minutes until this whole place blows up. Tell your friend that. I don't want innocent heroes here to die, Karma warned. Izuku's POV. Great, now I had 3 shots left, and tomorrow was the entrance exam. I noticed Eraserhead seemed to be talking to someone through his headset while I took down the last opponent. Only 4 minutes left. I needed to get out, and as far away as possible. I scanned the area and spotted someone with a set of keys around their neck. I could use them to unlock a door, and since most of the rooms were designed like safes, I'd be safe. One room was labeled safe, and another, stairs. I grabbed the keys and called out, "If you want to live, I recommend you leave as soon as possible." "Wait!" Eraserhead shouted, but I didn't stop and dashed down the corridor. As I ran, I passed every door, reading the labels. Staircase? Staircase. Where was the door? Finally, I found the one marked stairs, unlocked it, and hurried down. I rushed past several more doors, all labeled with various storage and bunker names. There had to be a bunker nearby. I opened the door to the bunker with the keys and quickly closed it behind me. A group of people stared at me, clearly gang members who hadn't expected to see me standing there, alive and almost unharmed. "Hi," I said casually. The reaction was immediate. Of course, the confrontation didn't go smoothly. It turned into a brawl where I managed to take down many of them after they had landed a few hits on me first. Now I had a bunch of bruises. I opened the door again, threw each person out, and locked it once more. I hear someone banging on the door, but I don't open it. I guess I'll have to stay here until the bomb explodes, and nobody comes back. Great. How did I go from a little boy who faced bullying to a boy dealing with a ruthless gang that would do anything to eliminate me? The change of scenery was drastic, but necessary. This gang made themselves my enemies when they broke into our house. Now they must face the consequences. I want to lie down on the floor, rummage through my bag for tweezers, and remove my clothes. If I remember correctly, I was hit in the shoulder, leg, and stomach. The first thing I do is try to remove the bullet with the tweezers before disinfecting the area and stitching it up. If I hadn't been quirkless, I would have had many options in life. But life seemed to say, you don't need options. As I finish the last stitch, I hear a gigantic explosion that shakes the whole room for a few seconds. I thought it would be the end, but I'm safe. I take a deep breath, feeling the aftermath of the blast. The bunker, however, was just a box that couldn't be opened after the explosion. It felt like I was in a washing machine, and I wouldn't recommend that feeling to anyone. I sat in the bunker for a few hours. Thankfully, I had a bit of rest and a clock. Otherwise, I would have gone completely nuts. The bleeding had stopped by now, and I knew it was late. There probably weren't many people left to search the rooms. Eraserhead likely left since exams were tomorrow. I finally made my way out of the bunker. For a brief moment, panic shot through me when I realized I couldn't get the door open. It had probably jammed during the explosion. After a while, I managed to pry it open, but it took hours. I had never been so happy to feel fresh air and solid ground beneath my feet. I immediately made my way home. I deserved it. I wanted to lie on my bed and just wait for the exam to start. Aizawa POV. I spent hours searching everywhere. No one saw Karma leave the building. The place was completely surrounded, so he must have stayed inside, which would mean he's gone now. A few other heroes and I searched everywhere, but there was no trace. Reporter, would you like to do an interview with us about the famous vigilante Karma who took down a gang of dangerous mafia members? Me. Sighs, the gang blew themselves up with Karma. It wasn't him. Reporter, it's tragic that such a talented vigilante had to end so soon. He saved many lives by always being on the streets. We will remember him as one of the best vigilantes in history, a symbol of justice in our hearts. I always hate that after someone dies, they receive respect. Karma was active for 4 whole years, and hardly anyone noticed what he did. Only those who knew him or a few relatives and friends of victims recognized his efforts. Now that he's gone, he's one of the most famous vigilantes. It's sad that a person's life had to end for others to appreciate it. It's truly tragic because Karma always fought for justice without caring for himself. Izuku POV. On my way to, I felt energized, not from a good sleep, but from the 3 coffees I drank. I listened to the news. According to the reporters, Karma was dead after he sacrificed himself to protect everyone from the mafia. What a load of nonsense. I can't wait to see Eraserhead's face when he finds out I'm still alive. Will he be annoyed? That's the question. Somehow, I went from a vigilante whose name hardly anyone knew to a famous one overnight. I've been working several hours a day for about 4 years. If I saved about 10 people every day, that would be around 14,610 over the years. I've also rescued homeless people by distributing food. If I add the orphanage I helped that almost burned down, which had around 100 children, then I would have saved around 20,000 lives. Now that I'm supposedly dead, I've become famous. Quite an interesting story, really. When I stop in front of UA, I admire the size before I go in. It takes me a while to find the door to the written exam. As I enter, I almost trip over a giant yellow caterpillar. I go into shock as Eraserhead crawls out of the yellow cocoon. I open my mouth and close it again. Why is he in a cocoon? Midnight, you broke him, I think. Me, I'm just going to sit down and ignore it completely. I didn't see anything. Eraserhead, listen kid, I don't have the energy for this. Just know I'm not a homeless person. Me, why would you be a homeless person? You're a pro hero. Present Mike, wow, you're the first one who doesn't think he's homeless. Midnight, you owe me money now, Zashi. Present Mike, only if the boy knows who he is. Midnight, please don't disappoint me. I bet big money here. Me. Present Mike, huh? He doesn't know. Eraserhead, size. Me, Eraserhead, #1 underground pro hero. Quirk, erasure. Drawback, tiredness and dry eyes. You wear your glasses so people can't see who you're looking at, if I'm not mistaken. Late 20s, a year younger than Midnight. You were in the same class as Present Mike, except you got into the hero course through the sports festival. Present Mike. Midnight. Eraserhead. Midnight, he is happy. Me really? Midnight, that was a happy sigh. Eraserhead, I'm not particularly happy after what happened yesterday. Me, I'm sorry I interrupted. I really didn't want to disturb your sleep, so if you'll excuse me, I'll go sit down. Midnight. Whispers, wow, that boy is so polite. I hope he will be in my class. Present Mike. Whispers, do you even have a class? I can't remember. Midnight. Whispers, I bet 150 he'll be in my class. Present Mike. Whispers, I bet 200 he'll be in my class. I'm so glad Nizu doesn't take multiple tests for each course anymore, just the written and physical exam. Eraserhead. Whispers, I bet 300 that he doesn't do it at all. There are so many who want to be in UA, but hardly anyone can do it. Izuku POV. I knew enough about Nizu to understand that I shouldn't stand out in any way. So I left mistakes behind. I had no idea if this test was meant to be complete or not. Some questions focused on building things, while others were more about being heroes. You could probably see where students answered different questions and determine their course. That was actually quite clever. I finished the test far too quickly, writing extensively, even on the back. I allowed myself to make a lot of mistakes. I rested my head on the table and dozed off. After a while, I heard the sound of students exhaling in relief, which was probably the sign that I should wake up. Next up was the second exam. I prepared for that. I was allowed to take an item with me, so I chose some playing cards. These cards were made of special metal and had sharp edges. Meanwhile, I wore a pair of magnetic gloves designed to retrieve the cards when I threw them. I spent hours practicing with these cards, eager to see what they could do. When we were all led into the mock town for the exam, I was the first to race off. I started throwing my cards, hitting the parts of the small robots I knew would disable them. Eventually, I set my sights on a larger robot. I swore I would never do that again. A fist in my hand hurt. I could feel the tension in my fingers, and I was certain I had injured myself. Yes, I could feel something warm trickling down my shoulder. I took a card and snapped off one of the robot's arms, then did the same with the other before targeting its legs. But just as I was about to deliver the final blow, another student pushed me aside and took down the robot. Frustration bubbled within me. I had wasted almost all my cards on that large robot, and now I had hardly any left. I decided to take on a few more smaller robots, hoping I had enough points. At some point, I heard a beep followed by an announcement. The last robot is on the way to us. It is not meant to be fought. I wanted to flee immediately, but then I noticed a girl about to be trampled by the robot. I had to help. After all, I was Karma. I attempted to use the magnets in my gloves to collect my cards again, but something went wrong. The cards flew toward me, and the magnets on my arms pulled me toward the giant robot. The glove was supposed to attract only a specific type of metal that wasn't commonly used in construction, so I was baffled as to why Nizu had made the largest robot out of this metal. I was pulled toward the robot with full force, practically flying through the air. You might wonder why I didn't just take off my gloves. To remove a glove, I needed another hand, but both of mine were pointed toward the robot. How did I end up in this situation? All the students looked up to see me soaring toward the robot with my hands outstretched. It must have looked like I was trying to fight it. I flew right toward its face. Nizu probably had something important in the robot's head made of that special metal. What could I do? All I had time for was to brace myself for the impact. When I collided with the robot's head, there was a tremendous crash. I felt the shock reverberate through my body, and the robot began to stagger backward as I stumbled with it. This couldn't be worse. One day Karma dies, and the next day it's my turn. One thing I learned was to never trust my inventions. The entire robot fell backward to the ground. That wasn't too bad, aside from the fact that I had injured my arms. Somehow, I managed to avoid hitting my head on impact. I jinxed myself. The robot began to break apart. I wanted to run, but my hands were stuck to it because of the metal. Then, everything went dark. Izuku POV. When I woke up again, I had a terrible headache and my arms were in terrible shape. I slowly managed to free myself from my gloves and fought my way through the rubble that had buried me. I noticed many teachers searching through the debris. I slowly got up, concealed myself behind some piles of rubble, and made my way out of UA as quickly as possible. There was no way I wanted to end up with Recovery Girl. How was I supposed to explain to her why I had injuries? For instance, Kaken once carved Deku into my skin with a knife. Fortunately, he only did it 4 times, but that didn't mean those wounds were harmless. There was no way I could show her anything. I had to keep them hidden. Hidden from Recovery Girl, the world, and even myself. I concealed my aura like Eraserhead. I didn't use any invisible points on the camera. I didn't want everyone to think I was dead or still under the robot. I snuck outside and then started running. I ran as if my life depended on it. Because, in a way, it did. If Nizu sent someone after me and I got caught, Recovery Girl would see my injuries, and my mom would be contacted due to suspicions of abuse. Then there would be the issue that my mom wasn't alive. The police would find the bloodstains on the carpet that I couldn't clean or the bullet holes in the wall. They would discover my mom's grave, and just like that, I would end up in an orphanage. Once I had run far enough, I stopped and leaned back against a wall. Over time, I had made a few contacts. One of them had a healing quirk and owed me a favor after I saved her daughter. I hated it when I broke bones. They felt like they were made of paper. Were they glow sticks that cracked with too much movement? A few hours later, after getting my limbs repaired and feeling grateful to the woman who helped me, I made my way to surprise my favorite hero. This time, he wasn't alone. Midnight was with him. They were on the rooftop where Eraserhead first met me. Reminiscing about our first encounter. "Hi, Eraserhead. Can I call you Reeser?" I greeted cheerfully. "Whoa!" Midnight exclaimed, clearly surprised. Eraserhead blinked in disbelief. "Oh my, I don't get paid enough for this." "Didn't you miss me?" I asked playfully. "It's a surprise to see you safe and sound," he replied, a hint of relief in his voice. "Karma, I'm so glad you're okay." "I thought you were gone," Midnight added, her eyes wide with concern. "You need more than that to take me down. No one can end me so easily. Only I can do that because I can be a bit clumsy sometimes," I chuckled. "Just sometimes?" You're not only clumsy but also reckless, Eraserhead pointed out, shaking his head. That hurt, Reeser, I teased. Don't call me that, he retorted. Why not? It's a nice name. Is Penciltop better? I joked. Bold of you to assume he can top anything, Midnight chimed in with a smirk. Eraserhead, I'm going to get you for that, Midnight said playfully. I looked between them, confused. I don't understand what's going on here. I really didn't expect one of the most dangerous vigilantes to be so innocent and not get adult jokes, Midnight remarked. Maybe it's because I'm not an adult yet. I replied, laughing. Now explain, I insisted. Don't you dare, Midnight. Just ignore everything she says. That's what I often do, Eraserhead said, tying his scarf around her foot and giving her a gentle push. I hesitated. Midnight squealed as she stumbled. I don't even know if I should help her. I'm a vigilante, but you're a hero, the legal version of me, so to speak, I said, feeling torn. You're karma, so it should be okay for you that she gets what she deserves, Eraserhead replied nonchalantly. Sorry, Midnight. If it helps, you're my second favorite hero. I called out. Is All Might your first? Eraserhead asked, raising an eyebrow. No, silly. Of course you are, I exclaimed, noticing how he seemed taken aback by the compliment. Midnight cried again, still trying to regain her balance. That's clearly against the rules, I said, shaking my head. What are you going to do, arrest me? Eraserhead challenged, a smirk on his face. I considered pushing him down too, but that would be illegal without him starting a fight. Instead, I continued the conversation. Midnight was a pro-hero, she would manage. You're my favorite hero because you're so easy to annoy, I teased. Seriously. I dropped her for that. If you want, you can take her as your number one favorite hero and Present Mike as your second, Eraserhead replied, sounding exasperated. Well, you're not my favorite hero just for that. You're also my favorite because of your quirkless fighting technique. That inspired me to become a vigilante myself, I explained. You're quirkless? He asked, surprised. It would be foolish to walk around as a vigilante and show my quirk everywhere. Then people would figure out who I am very quickly. There probably aren't many in the world with a similar quirk. If you say there are 10 people with a similar quirk in Mustafa, and 5 of them are women, then there are only 5 who could be me. 3 of those are the wrong age and 1 has the wrong size. And there you have it, everyone knows who I am. Somehow, it feels like I'm talking to Nizu 2.0, Eraserhead remarked, shaking his head. How was the entrance exam? You're a teacher, right? I asked, changing the subject. Sigh. I thought there was no one as reckless as you. Looks like I was wrong, he replied, a hint of amusement in his tone. Izuku POV. Fortunately, I was accepted into UA and even made it into the hero course. Since then, my chaotic life has somehow improved, mainly because I've become friends with Eraserhead. When he's not chasing me like a madman, we manage to have conversations. But I have to be careful not to reveal too much. I've seen what happens when I let my guard down. Before, they thought I was in my 30s, now they believe I'm in my 40s. A depressed adult who probably experienced trauma in his childhood. In a way, they're right, but they're also wrong. All the challenges I've faced have forced me to grow up quickly. The day my mom died was also the day a little boy died. That boy, broken and lost, was transformed into someone new. That day marked the birth of a warrior. I seek justice for what happened. In the beginning, the Nirvana group was powerful and feared. Flashback. Me, what price will you give for the information I mentioned? Merchant. Oh, it will be costly for me to risk my life by sharing that information. So Nirvana. You've made a powerful enemy. Me? Oh, so I'm the one who made a powerful enemy? I have to disappoint you. It's Nirvana that has made an enemy. Merchant, you're just dreaming. You're a fly compared to them. Nirvana is famous and well-known. Me, that's their weakness. They're famous and well-known. I am known but not recognized. No one knows more than a shadow of me. Do you know who I am? Or do you not recognize me? How could you? I am known for my deeds, not for being recognized. Merchant, no, I don't recognize you. Me, what a shame. You can call me the symbol of justice, shadow of the night, or my most famous name. Karma. Merchant? The Karma? I always imagined you to be more imposing, larger. Me, you know, I only go after people after they've done something deserving of punishment. You might want to reconsider your words since you're insulting me right now. Merchant, let's return to the topic of Nirvana. Me, looks like we understand each other. Flashback. And now that it's known that a single vigilante caused an explosion that turned a command center to ashes, people have begun to trust me more and fear the group less. They are slowly losing their power. Flashback. Bartender, so you want to know something about the Nirvana group? There's a lot to know. Do you want to hear about the explosion? Me, oh no, I know enough about the explosion. I'm probably the one who knows the most about it. I supposedly caused it. Bartender, Karma caused it? Clearly, it wasn't you. Karma is dead. I spread my aura. Me, so you're saying I'm dead? I feel very much alive. More alive than I ever have. So, do you want to tell me something about the group, or do you want the same ending as Nirvana? Binder, Thug. Flashback. And slowly, people are starting to realize that Karma isn't dead after all. For some reason, I thought people would lose interest, but I gained more fame than ever. Nizu announced on TV that if I surrendered, he would use his contacts to get me into UA as a teacher. I think he'll try to catch me and make me a teacher even if I don't surrender. The next day, on the ground, a couple of fainted villains lay sprawled out with a message that read, "No, why should I put up with a bunch of annoying, emotionally unstable teenagers?" I put a lot of effort into this artwork and had to search for enough villains to create this picture. Of course, I did it the day before school started. Reporters and journalists went wild over what I did. They debated whether it was art or vandalism, and the discussion became quite famous. I don't know how that happened. It wasn't art or vandalism, I didn't damage anything, and in the end, the debate concluded that it was a piece of art, with the first photo taken of it now displayed in a museum. People are truly unpredictable. The heroes were frantic during my patrols. I've never been chased so much. Eraserhead had to stop Endeavor from turning me into a cloud of dust. The first day of school wasn't great. I was exhausted. Eraserhead was grumpy, and I was dead tired. I don't know how much coffee I drank to feel better or how much makeup I had to wear to hide the circles under my eyes, along with perfume to mask the lingering scent of blood. Izuku POV. I've started to manipulate. I manipulate people by always smiling and being friendly with them. With obvious lies, I pretend I'm really bad at lying. And when they least expect it, I lie with ease, making them believe me. However, the class is getting on my nerves. They're all too energetic for my taste. It's very difficult to integrate into this community. It frustrates me that I've always tried to befriend Kaken since childhood, and now a red-haired guy has come along and made friends in just a few days. Frustrated doesn't even begin to describe how I feel. Aizawa-sensei always wants us to push beyond our limits, which I think is great. We're all here to become heroes one day. But I've been living beyond my limits for years now. I'm happy if I only get a few hours of sleep. For me, a few hours means a few hours a month or a week. Fortunately, I managed to complete all the tasks. The training feels like a warm-up for me. That's why I sometimes give more than I should, especially when I'm not injured, which is rare. Aizawa-sensei told us we had to race 15 laps around UA without using our quirks. He mentioned that some teachers would be watching from the windows, and if they saw a quirk being used, that student would have to run another 15 laps. I was running at full speed. Running isn't just about adrenaline, there's also a proper breathing technique involved. I'm used to running for hours to escape heroes. On the 14th lap, Aizawa-sensei stopped me. Aizawa-sensei, you're not running another lap. What? Aizawa-sensei, you ran 14 laps around UA at full speed. UA is huge. Me, oh. Aizawa-sensei, you act like you're doing me a favor. Other students would beg me to let them stop. Kaminari, I can't go on anymore, sensei. I beg you to let me take a break. Aizawa-sensei, you've done 9 laps. Do you want 5 more laps, or are you going to stop now? Villains won't give you a break either. Me? So I should keep running? Aizawa-sensei, No, you're not going to keep running. Me, Kaminari has a better chance of falling over. Aizawa-sensei, Kaminari is not almost finished. Me, what if I run my 15th lap and the other 6 for him? Aizawa-sensei, it's heroic to help someone, but he can do it himself. Kaminari falls to the ground, turns onto his back, and looks up at the sky. Kaminari, those are colorful stars, and there's a unicorn. I look up but quickly turn my head back down. Aizawa-sensei, did you seriously just look at the sun? Me. Can I run the laps now? Aizawa-sensei, sigh. I allow you to run. Me? Yes, thank you. I sprint off. Aizawa-sensei, sigh. No one has ever asked me to run before. I ended up running 35 laps. It's important to make connections. I learned that as a vigilante, some contacts can save lives, while others are useless. I guess in my case, those contacts are particularly useless. I was good at sports, and the adrenaline helped me perform well, but I kept my combat skills a secret. I didn't want to reveal my tactics. Even though no one would probably recognize them, I don't usually fight heroes as karma. I tend to run away or hide. I only confront villains. But I have to get hurt or hit by every villain for it to count as self-defense. So, makeup is my second face. The other day, Nizu gave me a strange look. Did I put on too little perfume or too much? He's part dog, so to speak. Did I forget a spot on my face? Can he see my limp? Was there a moment when my sleeve fell? There is so much that could go wrong. I'm going to prepare my resignation paper to give to Nizu in case of a problem. I will always carry it with me after feeling that he was above me in event. I've never been so paranoid. I had to think all the time to avoid being suspicious and to act completely normal. Haha, that can't be difficult. Chapter end. Izuku POV. Yes, that's exactly how it happened. That is the story of how I became quirkless at UA and managed to be the #1 vigilante. Now I'm here in a room with all the staff members, and I've just been given an opportunity that actually leads to the same thing, just in a different way. I let his words run through my head again. I'll give you a choice. Either you tell the detective what's happening at your home, or you go to Recovery Girl for a checkup. I have to be careful with my words. Saying that my situation at home is fine is a lie. My mom is gone. That is not fine. To say that I'm not abused is also a lie. Villains have abused me. So, it would be okay to say that my mom didn't abuse me. Me, I'm not abused by my mom. Nizu, do you still want to ignore the evidence that I have? Me, ask your walking lie detector. Tsukachi, it's the truth. Nizu, interesting that you know who he is. So it's not your mom. Me, why does it have to be someone? Can't it be no one? The solution is to ask questions. Questions can't be true or false, right? Nizu, because the evidence speaks for itself. So, do you want to talk about it? Me, so, are we also going to discuss your secret vent passageways that you use to observe students? I was really scared when I first heard you crawling through the vent above me, and even after I realized you were above me for a long time. Recovery Girl, Nizu, I thought we talked about you not crawling through the vents like a rat. Nizu, it was for research purposes. Me, you call stalking research? Nizu, yes, but we are getting off topic. Even though I find it very interesting that you were able to hear me. That raises another red flag. You have incredibly keen senses and a very good technique in running. I can tell that you've often run from something or someone. And your keen senses beware. I've noticed how you walk around as if you expect someone to attack you from any side. Hound Dog, just tell us already, we can help improve your situation. Recovery Girl, it won't help anyone if you stay silent. Neither you nor us. Nizu, so, I've laid my cards on the table and given you 2 choices. As you already know, wanting to talk more puts you in a difficult position. Me, interesting move, but I already knew something was going to happen. You were way too obvious. I reply in the same tone. That Nizu speaks to me, a concentrated tone that also has a bit of lightness and interest in it. I take my resignation papers and place them on his table. On the papers are my mom's fake signature and mine as well. Me, I wanted to be on the safe side. Nizu looks at the papers for a moment, then looks up again and smiles. Oh no, I should be worried. Nizu, you need a reason to withdraw from school. I don't think the reason of abuse is enough and will even do the opposite. Mike-sensei whispers, why does it feel like a card game right now? Me, why does it seem like you're cosplaying a banana? Midnight-sensei, can't, brief, Nizu, we're getting off the subject. Me, you're trying to get me expelled by making fun of teachers and causing trouble. I don't think that's a good way to get out of here as fast as possible. Nizu, don't expect me to expel you. You've shown you have what it takes to be a hero, and you still won't leave so fast. I get it. Making connections here and being friendly is the complete opposite of what I should be doing at this school. I glance at the door. Nizu, oh yes, there's that possibility too. However, I really doubt that it will be successful. You see, there are trained pro heroes in this room. You can try to run, but I wouldn't recommend it. I see Aizawa-sensei getting up. He knows me well already. I throw the umbrella in his direction, jump to the window, and throw myself against it with my shoulder. No luck, the window doesn't break. I can feel Midnight coming from behind to catch me. I know that especially with children, when they want to run away or have a panic attack, she usually hugs them, holds them tight, and uses her quirk to help them calm down. I let her catch me and then threw my back against the window. She released her grip and fell to the floor. Izuku POV. I punched Vlad King in the chin and then kicked him in the stomach. I grabbed a chair and hurled it at Present Mike. Hound Dog, I understand that you're scared, but you shouldn't resort to violence like this. I picked up a glass table and tossed it toward Hound Dog. Take that. I dashed toward the door when I felt a strong grip on my wrist, almost causing me to stumble. Turned to see All Might. In a swift motion, I kicked him in the face and then struck him from the side, aiming for his injury. I saw the surprise in his eyes and ran for the door. Tsukachi stood in front of it, arms outstretched. No, kid, you can't just run out. I sensed Cementos and Aizawa-sensei approaching from behind. In a flash, I formed a plan. Aizawa-sensei used his scarf, and I was curious about how it worked, so I had tried making one myself. I hadn't expected it to be so easy. I loosened the bandages around my hands, thinking that if Aizawa's scarf worked, perhaps something wrapped around my hands could work similarly. I threw my bandages like Aizawa's scarf, and they looped perfectly around Tsukachi. With a spin, I flung him right into Cementos. Sorry, favorite detective, but you didn't leave me much choice. Aizawa looked genuinely surprised. He threw his scarf at me, but I dodged it. There was still power loader to deal with. I always used a device that generated electronic waves to take out the giant robot he was controlling. After that, I sprinted away, feeling Aizawa-sensei close behind me, but he stopped at the door. Aizawa POV. Wailing echoed all around. I wanted to go after the child, but Nizu instructed me to halt. As everyone slowly got up and discussed their injuries, Nizu calmly sipped his tea. Nizu, that was really unexpected. Me, we have to follow him. We need to do something. Nizu, there's no need. Don't forget he's still registered at school. We have his address, his last name, and his mother's full name. He should come to school tomorrow, otherwise, we'll have to make a home visit due to the circumstances. He has no real way of escaping, even if this was unexpected. He continued sipping his tea as if everything was perfectly fine. All Might, there's blood on my hand. Nizu, that's probably because you coughed up blood. It's interesting that the boy knew about your vulnerability. All Might, that's even scarier. I coughed into my left hand and held him with my right, and there's blood on both. Nizu, looks like my guess was correct, he's hurt right now. After I finish my tea, we can go get him. I'd suggest we shouldn't go in a large group. But after seeing what he's capable of, I'm even considering bringing in a few more officers. We could ask Snipe to tranquilize him. Me, you planned this. Nizu, planned what? Me, Snipe is the only one who isn't here. Almost everyone else got hurt a bit. You didn't want him to get hurt, so you could have Snipe tranquilize him. Nizu, I didn't plan it, but I suspected it. He's very fast, so I guessed he would try to run. Think of it like a scared animal trying to escape. The closer you get, the more frightened it becomes. What would a kitten do in this situation? You know a lot about cats. So, what do you say? Me, attack. Sigh. Nizu, I didn't expect him to fight so well, but I anticipated he would try to escape. Izuku POV. I ran, knowing I didn't have much time. I needed to get home as quickly as possible. There was a lot of vigilante gear at my place. What was I supposed to do? It was inevitable that they would want to see my mom. I couldn't let them. I opened the door and gathered my things. I wouldn't be able to hide everything, the holes in the walls from bullets, the blood I couldn't clean off the carpet. I couldn't even take out the garbage where the bloody bandages were. I grabbed a bag and stuffed all my vigilante gear into it. It filled quickly, so I needed a second one. I collected all the valuables I could find, including money and the first aid kit. I removed the bandages I was wearing to avoid leaving a trail of blood. Where were the 2 weapons? I remembered I had stashed 2 guns after my mom died. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a hidden gun cellar somewhere in my house. I packed the most important items, everything that could reveal my vigilante identity. I might as well give up my civilian life. Not that I had much of a life to give up right now. But where on earth was I going to live? When I opened the door, I immediately sensed that I was no longer alone. If I got caught now, it would be obvious that I was karma just from the contents of my bags. I felt the presence of others gathered around the house, everywhere but the door. It was clear someone was standing there, hidden or keeping their distance with a weapon. It would be strange to have everything surrounded. No, a gun wouldn't work. They were heroes after all. Probably a tranquilizer then. I guessed Snipe was involved since he was the only one absent during the meeting with the red flags. Wouldn't that mean Nizu expected me to try to run? All the windows were blocked. What if I used the roof? There was an old oak tree next to our roof that I used to love climbing as a child. My mom had once seen me hanging from it after jumping from a window. She had asked someone to cut a few branches so I couldn't reach it anymore. The branches should have grown back by now, and I had also gotten taller. And heavier. If I jump from the roof to the tree, the branches might break, which is likely since I'm jumping from a height with my weight. What do I have to lose? If I get caught with the bags, my vigilante career is over. The heroes are only at some windows that aren't too high and not on the roof. I run up the stairs. When I reach the roof and climb over the railing, I hear a shout. Please don't do that. Come down, and we can discuss everything. Child, we mean you no harm. I was really proud when I found out that the kid who was told by All Might that he was quirkless can't be a hero is in Class 1A. You've come so far, so you shouldn't throw your life away. Do they really think I want to jump right now? Why should I take bags with me? I understand that they see me as quirkless and probably think I'm being mistreated. But they don't know me. I'm not the type to give up. Or maybe I would. Going into UA as a vigilante is like a suicide mission. I gain momentum and leap toward the oak tree. I hear gasps as I almost slip off the tree, catching myself with my legs while holding the bags. But I find my balance, stretching the bags out on both sides. After reaching the top of the tree, I continue balancing on a new branch and jump onto a roof. Now it's just a matter of jumping from roof to roof and escaping, something I'm quite good at. It's not hard to evade one hero. Dodging 2 isn't too difficult either, but escaping from several while being hit with a tranquilizer dart turns out to be a real challenge. Yes, that's right. He did hit me in the end, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop running. Aizawa-sensei always says you have to go beyond your limit. I don't just go over my limit, I push past it. Is it the same if I'm even more exhausted? Stop. No, thanks. I didn't ask. And I wasn't listening. He sighs and throws his scarf at me. I catch it and swing Aizawa-sensei around like a rag doll before I dash off. The real danger is now behind me, and I start taking jumps and paths that aren't easy to lose them. It works, and eventually, after a lot of jumping around, I manage to escape. Fun fact, I lost myself too. Where am I right now? The start of my new life begins in some forgotten alley where I have no idea. What's a kid like you doing in a place like this? I could ask you the same. It's broad daylight. What are you doing here? I don't know. Someone might be particularly conspicuous and has piqued my curiosity. Curiosity killed the cat. Good thing I'm not a cat. So, what are you doing here, kid? Running. From whom? Too many people to name. Almost the entire UA staff and a few officers, so to speak. Why is that? What did you do that was so bad? I caught Nisa's interest and applied to UA. So you managed to get into UA. You recognize me? It's rare to have an encounter like yours, I won't forget it easily. So, what did you do? It's a long story. The end result is that I'm no longer at UA or I have to give up my civilian identity. Then I'll probably become a vigilante fed-up hero. How could something like that happen? My mom was killed. And because of my injuries, Nizu thinks I'm being mistreated. I'm sure he would want to talk to her, but he won't. So after his accusation, I made my escape. Being a vigilante isn't a good idea. If you turn yourself in, you'll have a better chance at a future, believe me. I won't. If I turn myself in, they'll find out I'm already a vigilante. That's why I've always had injuries. I get hurt during my vigilante work. He looks at me for a few moments, probably thinking I'm completely crazy now. I don't think it's a bad idea to tell him who I really am. Maybe he could give me a tip on where to stay because where I live right now is nowhere. So you went to UA as a vigilante, where literally the smartest being lives, and didn't expect to be exposed. I've never been exposed. They just think I'm being abused. I've been doing this work for 4 or 5 years. Most people don't even survive a year or a few months. You may be right. I lived as a vigilante for a year before I switched to villain. Do you have any tips on how I could go underground? Which vigilante are you? Now comes the tricky part. He might not believe me, so I pull out my mask, which has become quite famous. Karma. The Karma. You are the Karma. Yes. Looks like I made a mistake. I never thought you'd be a hero without a quirk and make it to stardom one day. But you did. I know a few places. Would you rather be abandoned? It's best to find places where Eraserhead doesn't patrol. Stain shows me 3 abandoned houses with intact windows and curtains. I choose a house with wooden boards in front of the windows so no one can see inside. I really feel like I'm buying real estate. I wanted to give Stain a USB stick as a thank you, but it didn't have any electronic devices on it to avoid being tracked. So I gave him the information from the USB stick verbatim, sharing details about some heroes who had committed crimes and more or less deserved to face justice. When I returned after the failed attempt to capture the problematic child, I did not expect to find a bunch of police cars there. Had something happened in the meantime? The child was gone by then. What could have happened for the police to come? I run over to Nizu. What happened here? Looks like you're not having any success catching him. That's unfortunate. A lot has happened here. After we entered the house, we noticed blood stains on the carpet that had not been cleaned properly and a few holes in the wall, as if someone had fired a weapon into it. Hound Dog managed to find a couple of guns stashed in a closet. They seemed to have been there for quite some time, as a musty smell lingered around them. One of the guns had a faint odor that Hound Dog picked up on. There was also a pile of bloody bandages in the trash can. His mother was nowhere to be found, which made it clear that something terrible had occurred, given the presence of guns, bullet holes, blood, and bloody bandages. Me, is that why there are so many police officers here? Nizu, yes, primarily because of that. This case is becoming increasingly intriguing. It's evident that someone attempted to scrub away the blood on the carpet without success. This raises the question of why the police were never called. Me, do you think we'll manage to find him again? He runs incredibly fast and escapes with ease. Nizu, I don't just think so, I know it. No one can live on the streets forever, and no one can vanish into thin air. We will find him. The only question is whether he will be alive or not. But I'm confident he possesses many survival skills. From now on, every pro hero will need to carry a tranquilizer dart in case they encounter the boy. I have enough contacts to assist us. You can go into the house now. Perhaps you'll notice something or remember details since you probably knew him best. I entered the house, where several police officers were gathering evidence. In the backyard, I saw Tsukachi with a police dog sniffing the ground. The dog stopped at a particular spot and began digging. Tsukachi's expression was filled with concern. Me, what kind of police dog is that exactly? There's the bomb dog, the weapon dog, the poison dog, and the corpse dog if I remember correctly. Tsukachi, the corpse dog. Nizu ordered him to sniff around in the conservatory. Since the child's mother has been missing for quite some time, he wanted to investigate a theory. Another officer arrived with a shovel. They dug until they hit something solid and began to clear the area around it. When they lifted it out of the ground, they revealed a wooden coffin, or was it a closet? I could hardly believe my eyes when I saw what was inside. A decaying, bug-infested corpse. I turned my face away and held my nose. Tsukachi and the others stepped back as well. Nizu, so my guess turned out to be true. Interesting. Me, interesting? That looks like something out of a nightmare. Nizu, that may be true. But consider how the child must have felt finding his own mother like that. I don't believe her death was his doing. Something or someone must have kept him from telling anyone. Me, wouldn't it likely be the fear of being taken to an orphanage? Nizu, that could be. But to bury his own mother in a closet after she was killed out of such fear seems excessive. Me, you know how children like him are treated. Nizu, with fighting techniques like that, no one would dare confront him. The question of where he learned them still remains. I've been free for a few months now. I've been living as Karma for much longer and have a job that keeps me busy around the clock. I never expected people to search for me for so long. I am quirkless. The UA staff has been searching for me alongside the police. Months have passed, and even though 2 months have gone by, I wasn't reported dead. It even seemed like people were looking for me more the longer I stayed away. Normally, being quirkless, I would have been reported dead within the first 3 days. But I wasn't reported dead. Nizu used some contacts. Why would he do that? Something very strange happened during my patrol today. Instead of Aizawa hunting me down, he mentioned something about leaving me alone and not chasing me for 3 months if I found information about his student. I couldn't pass up that opportunity, especially after Endeavor burned my back and injured me. I don't think I'm the only vigilante given this task. I had put my red shoes in a box and wrote a letter saying I was fine. I'm still alive, but I don't want to be seen and I'm safe. I spotted Eraserhead on my patrol early in the evening. He was with Midnight, and they both seemed to be searching for something. I had a good idea of what they were looking for. With my gloved hands, I held the box containing my red shoes and the note. Me, hello Eraser. How are you? Isn't it a beautiful evening with all the stars in the sky? Aizawa-sensei, I don't have time for your games. I'm focused on something more important right now. Me, ouch, that hurt. Midnight, we're really working on something important and don't have time for gimmicks. Me, I thought the offer of not being hunted for 3 months for any hint of your missing student would still stand. But now that I see no more clues are needed, I can happily do without the 3 months. They both turned to face me, their expressions shifting. I slowly opened the box with my gloved hand, took out a red shoe, and moved it back and forth. They both watched the shoe sway as if it were part of some hypnotic clock. Me, it's a pity I tried so hard. Midnight, it's okay, we have time. We just haven't had much sleep because we've been searching for the kid. Me, oh, I understand that. I haven't had much sleep either. Aizawa-sensei, so this box contains his shoes? Me, yes. Aizawa-sensei, is there a clue or something? It would be pretty foolish if you literally stole his shoes and then brought them to us here. Wouldn't that increase the chances of him freezing to death out there? Me, is that concern I see? How nice and unexpected of you. Yes, of course, I didn't just bring the shoes, and he has other pairs. I'm not so cruel as to take a child's shoes. Here's a nice note from him. So I'll probably get the months I deserve. Aizawa-sensei sighs, yes, you'll get the 3 months. I just want to see what the note says. Me, yes, don't be so impatient. Can I give my 3 months to someone else? To another vigilante I know will need them more than I will. I really enjoy playing cat and mouse with you, and I certainly don't want to give up this game anytime soon. Maybe I would take a week out of those 3 months and give the rest to another. I want to be generous. Aizawa-sensei, that can be arranged? Me, that's great. Can I have a hug too? Midnight, a hug? Me, yes, a hug. I have a week because of the box. And in other cases, I'm sure you would have tried to catch me in a hug. But we've known each other for so long. Midnight hugs me tightly. It felt nice to be embraced again. When was the last time I was hugged? Aizawa-sensei seemed a bit hesitant. He dislikes it when someone invades his personal space. Izuku POV. I had never worked so hard in a single week. The heroes weren't allowed to catch me for the entire week, which meant I could do what I wanted. After the deal, I could act like a villain for that week without being caught. I gave the remaining months to another vigilante who was just starting out, thinking a few months would help him settle into street life. Logically, if I could prove my innocence, I would have the chance to be a vigilante legally. Not being chased is a great feeling, but just facing villains alone is boring. I need a bit of adrenaline. I stood in front of a villain whose hands were made of wood and arms of metal. I was too late this time. I had rushed here after hearing a scream, only to find a lifeless body on the ground. A child had likely been strangled. There were several victims around, mostly men but also some women. There was blood on them, but I couldn't tell if it was theirs. They didn't seem injured. They lay on the ground, seemingly alive. I would take care of them after dealing with the villain. Villain? Oh Karma. What an honor it is to meet you. Me, you not only have the honor of meeting me, but you also have the privilege of walking to the police station with me. Aren't you honored to be at the top of my list? Villain, that's great. I'll probably be the first and last on your list to defeat you. How would you like to spend your last moments? Me? My last moments? You mean your last moments of freedom. I want to spend my time as cool as I can, which will be very, very late. I stood my ground, waiting for him to attack. Villain, what's the famous Karma doing? Come at. I wanted to punch him hard and take those arms that were probably stained with the child's blood. But I had to stay within the rules, so he had to strike first. Me? Oh no, but you're just giving me a reason to completely take you down after you strike first. It's kind of a tradition for me to let my opponent attack first, otherwise, they wouldn't stand a chance. You'll need a little advantage. That was the moment I annoyed him enough that he charged at me. He tried to land a hit and succeeded. I had to let him. But I stopped the second blow and countered with my own. The sound echoed like metal clashing. Was his whole body made of metal? I kicked again. Was his body entirely metal? Or could he turn certain parts into metal temporarily? Before I could finish that thought, he faked a punch from the right and then struck from the left, pushing me deeper into the alley. What a strange tactic. He wanted me to move further back, switching our positions. Oh, that was a mistake. I unleashed a flurry of kicks and punches aimed at his face, paying close attention to his arms and feet. I realized he was playing dirty. The man fell to the ground. Me? Have you learned your lesson? Taste the pain of revenge for the Nirvana. A dagger plunged into my side from behind. It was pulled out and moved back in several times until I snapped out of my shock and turned to kick the woman who had done this to me with full force in the face. I took the knife from my side and plunged it into her own side. Me? Karma indeed. I turned around and realized I had been trapped. All the people I wanted to save, the ones I would lay down my life for, were from the Nirvana clan. I had never felt as angry and betrayed as I did now. Before I attacked everyone, I wanted to confirm something by calling Tsukachi. Tsukachi, Yon, what is it? Aizawa, is that you? You love to call at these hours. Me? If I kill someone who wants to kill me, would it be considered self-defense? I could tell I had wiped the sleepiness from Tsukachi's voice. Tsukachi, what? Karma. You can't be serious. Me? Oh, I'm completely serious. I was betrayed and stabbed. So I need my answer. Tsukachi, I'll regret answering your question, whether it's positive or negative. You plan to kill the villain? Me, hurry up with your answer. I think there was poison on the dagger, and I want to finish my work before I collapse here. Tsukachi, where are you? If they tried to kill you and it counts as self-defense, then the other person must have started the fight too. Me, I'm in a tough spot, but I made a deal that I can't be caught by anyone for a week, even if I'm nearly dead on the ground. You'd let me die. Beep. Izuku POV. It was a fierce battle. I was slowly losing more blood and feeling very dizzy. The problem was that I could only strike after they had already attacked. My headache worsened with each blow to my skull. It was a chaotic mess. I tried to dodge their legs and hands while stepping back, avoiding the daggers, which I was now sure were poisoned. I had a relatively good tolerance to poison. In my old school, there was a student whose quirk had a poisonous effect. Through constant exposure, I built up an immunity. But the poison was potent and delivered directly into my bloodstream with a knife. It weakened me significantly. There were only 2 left. My vision blurred, and I started to see double. One person rushed towards me to strike, but I saw 2 figures. Which one should I dodge? It was a 50-50 chance, and I miscalculated. I struck out at one of them, and for a moment, colorful stars danced in my vision as my mask cracked slightly. At that moment, I heard the siren. I didn't want to run away, they couldn't catch me anyway, and wasting energy would be foolish. But the villain took flight. Outside the alley, sounds of a battle erupted, and I recognized Tsukachi's commanding voice. I had always heard him slightly annoyed, tired, or in complete shock, and sometimes even in despair. I heard a couple of policemen rushing into the alley. "I'm afraid you're too late if you wanted to finish a fight here," I said, pulling my bloodied hands over my white mask, which was splattered with red. I extended the smile on my mask with blood. "Oh dear," one policeman exclaimed. "Racist, Tsukachi, come here now." I heard footsteps approaching. One pair was very quiet, while the others sounded heavy, like an elephant trampling through the area. "Oh hello, Eraserhead, Tsukachi, nice to see you both at once," I greeted. Tsukachi looked at me, concern etched on his face. "That looks like a nightmare." "Yes, my life is a bit of a nightmare." "Why are you 2 here?" "There was only one villain you had to capture," Aizawa-sensei replied, "to convince you to go to the nearest hospital." "I won't go to the nearest hospital. If you take too long to persuade me, I might end up dead." "Was the dagger coated with poison?" Aizawa-sensei asked. I held my side, hiding the wound from their view. Slowly I removed my hand. "Oh my," Tsukachi gasped. Aizawa-sensei sighed. "But don't think the poison is my biggest problem. Even if it is, all it does is weaken me. I've developed a tolerance over time." "A poison immunity from taking small doses day after day and gradually increasing it? That sounds painful," Tsukachi remarked. I know. And it wasn't voluntary on my part." "What do you mean?" Aizawa-sensei asked. "Oh, I don't want to spoil it for you. You'll find out one day, but I have to go now." "Wait," Aizawa-sensei called. "Did you forget the deal?" I replied. "No, but you're making it very difficult for me to keep it." "Don't worry, today is the last day. Could you cover for me? I really don't want to continue my patrol in this condition." "You really thought you could hold on like this?" Tsukachi questioned. "Of course. Weakness is no excuse for innocent people to suffer. It's not their fault I'm injured." "Those are admirable views, but you don't have to risk your life for that. There are heroes who do that. If you go to vigilante rehab, you'll surely become one." "Ah, Aizawa, since when did you start thinking so positively?" "You know my name?" he asked. "I know much more than you think. But oh, how time has passed. I have to go home." "Sooner or later, we'll catch up with you," Aizawa-sensei said. "Later or in an eternity," I replied. Izuku's POV. I jumped from roof to roof, running as fast as I could to avoid being followed and to prevent bleeding out. My vigilante costume, though simple, was well crafted. The fabric tightened around me and was incredibly dense, like chain mail. It was nearly impossible for it to tear. However, if someone moved a knife at you, you would still feel the pressure. I leaped from one roof to another until a large shadow blocked my path. It was a tall figure with no nose. "What do you think you're doing here?" "Stainest. Going home," I replied. "Whose blood is this?" What should I say? About 3/4 was my blood, and the rest belonged to others. It might not seem like much, but it was a significant amount. I decided to play dumb. "Blood? What blood?" Stain gave me a piercing look. "I'm not in the mood for games. Get straight to the point." I staggered slightly. Blood loss or just tiredness? He asked. I've been stabbed several times with a poison-tipped dagger. Come on. I'm fine, I can handle my wounds. It's not far to go. I staggered again and fell to my knees, black dots clouding my vision. I urged myself to stay conscious. I couldn't faint now. I managed to push through and stood up, albeit with difficulty. I looked at Stain with a satisfied smile. See? I'm completely fine. Stain didn't respond. In the next moment he picked me up and threw me over his shoulder. Hey, kidnapping is illegal. I protested. You're telling me? I'm a villain. Now stop struggling, you'll only lose more blood. Do you know which poison was used on you? Nope. But I'm immune to it. I've built up a tolerance over time. At least that's something. Where were you stabbed? On my side. Not all of this is my blood. That fight was pretty messy. Did you win? He asked. That was his question? He could have asked anything else, who it was, why, how many, if it was a villain, if it was just a theft, if I was hurt further. Of course. I replied. I'm proud of you, he said. That ended our conversation. Neither of us was the type to talk much. I enjoyed the silence as the sounds around me faded away. I started to drift away from everything. In the beginning, as Stain jumped from roof to roof, I barely noticed him. Stain, child? You've gotten so limp. Are you still conscious? Me, yes. Stain, did you get hit on the head? Because if you have a concussion, you better not sleep. Me, about 2 to 3, or was it 6 or more? I think something between 2 and 10. Stain, I see you're almost fainting already. That's way too vague. Everything was still blurry, and it felt as if I were submerged in a deep layer of fog. I knew I wouldn't last long. I had to put my life in someone else's hands, so to speak. I had to do something I never really wanted to do, trust. It was something that felt incredibly difficult for me. Trust these days is complicated. With a weak, villainous quirk, you can't trust anyone, and people will always hate you. With a strong one, trust is also a problem since envy lurks around. Even a little girl can be dangerous. And now, I was trusting my life to a hero killer, to be more precise. Do I have another choice? Izuku's POV. I sat up, the first thing I did was look around. Where am I? Oh yes. I have an unbelievable headache. Stain, stay lying down. Me, I've been unconscious for how long? Stain, a few hours. Lie down again. You lost a lot of blood, and the poison didn't help. It took a long time to stop the bleeding. I almost thought you would die. Me, how long do you think it will take me to regain enough energy to go on my patrol? Stain, weeks. It will take you weeks to be at your best, sleeping well, eating enough, fully healed. But knowing you, enough energy means just surviving. So I'd say you could patrol again tomorrow night. Me, really? Stain, could. That doesn't mean you will. That's debatable. Me, thanks. Aizawa's POV. I headed to Nisa's office. We really needed to talk. Midoriya had been missing for too long, and Karma was in bad shape. I would go to the staff room in the morning where everyone would be. Vlad King, you look more exhausted than usual. Do your students make you? Me, don't talk to me before I have my coffee, or my fist will fly into your face next. Vlad King. Nem whispers, what happened? Zashi whispers, I'm not sure either. Something with the vigilante karma that caused trouble. Nim whispers, I have to ask. Zashi whispers, can you wait a bit? Nem whispers, it's hard, but I think it's best to wait a bit. Nizu, what's the reason for the bad mood today? Me, you know exactly. Nizu, I never thought Karma would use the deal like this. Nem, what happened? Nizu, Karma was stabbed several times in one side with a dagger. Nem, oh dear. Nizu, because of the deal, he couldn't be caught. He used it to avoid being taken to the nearest hospital. Me, sigh. The dagger was covered in poison too. It seemed that this piece of information was not shared with Nizu while he sipped his tea, his eyes narrowing as he stared at me. Nizu, that's unfortunate. Me, he revealed that he has a poison tolerance. Nizu, that could help us. Me, how? Nizu, to build up a poison tolerance, you have to come into contact with poison. There are some people who have quirks that are poison tolerant and some quirks that can poison. Me, he said it wasn't voluntary. Nizu, that's bad. You had a plan to catch him. Me, I'm thinking about how it would be good to fake a situation with villains where karma comes to save someone, and then we can capture him. Nizu, I wouldn't take that as a very good idea. I did some research on the fight that happened yesterday, and the Nirvana clan did the same thing. They killed a kid and used his blood to look like victims of a villain fight. When Karma almost defeated the villain, one of the victims jumped on him from behind and stabbed him several times. I heard a few reports from the members who woke up. They all swore they had never felt such dark energy in their lives. Karma went from a playful man with a childish character to a beast in an instant. Me, what else could we do? Nizu, your son and his quirk. Just a theory, but maybe it works. A recording of your son's voice while he uses his quirk could control someone just like when he uses his quirk and speaks. You could change the voice from the recording as if it came from you. He would trust you to answer a question. Me, but then I would break that trust completely. Nizu, it's better to have broken trust than to find him dead in some alley tonight. And once we have him, we'll definitely be able to continue the investigation for Midoriya. Izuku's POV. After all the time I had stopped, I was finally allowed to leave. Stain had warned me to be extra careful, not just to avoid getting hurt. My days of running around freely were coming to an end, and the heroes would surely want to catch me. I didn't understand why they wanted to catch me at the beginning. Why would they want it more now? They probably wanted me too. He mentioned something about me being hurt. I didn't think they wanted to take advantage of my injury, but he said they should probably catch me so I wouldn't end up dead somewhere because of the wound. I thought it was foolish. I was just like every other vigilante, someone standing in their way of fame, which is how most people saw me. There had been so many heroes who had almost killed me. He just shook his head, saying I didn't think enough of myself. The first thing I did after getting ready for my patrol was look for Eraserhead. There he was. I recognized him immediately from a distance. He was with Midnight and Present Mike. They weren't on a roof, they stood next to a house by a lamppost. I climbed onto the lamppost from the roof, using a bandage from my arm to wrap around my neck like Aizawa-sensei's scarf. The three of them were in a circle, having a conversation. I dropped down right in the middle of them, hanging from the bandage. Me, hello everyone. Mike-sensei, wah? Midnight, hallelujah. Aizawa-sensei, hallelujah? Seriously, Nem? Me, it looks like there will be more and more of you. First, it was Eraserhead, then Midnight, and now Present Mike. My younger self would be amazed to see so many heroes. Aizawa-sensei, have you ever heard of something called resting? Me, resting? Can you eat that? Mike-sensei, is that why you look so much more tired, Sho? Me, are you calling me annoying right now? Mike-sensei, no. Me, wow, you should see your face. Aizawa-sensei, how did you manage to survive? You were in pretty rough shape before. I don't think you had time to take care of yourself and your injuries without passing out. Me, a friend helped me. He's nice and I can more or less trust him. But really trusting someone is complicated. I had no other choice. If I hadn't trusted him, I might not be here. Aizawa-sensei, you had another choice, which was to go to the hospital. I put both hands on my ears. Me, la 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 la. I can't hear you. Aizawa-sensei, sigh. How old are you, 10? Me, Midnight-sensei, what is it? Me, I think I need a new nickname for Present Mike. Midnight, I also don't have a nickname. You only call Sho Eraser. Me, yes you do. Yours is WBJ. Midnight, WBJ? Is that even a word? Me, W for warning, B for bad, J for jokes. Warning, bad jokes. Hey, me, deserved. I could probably give them a hint with the name I have for Present Mike. It's getting boring just having patrols on the job, and every day feels the same. I really enjoy the quiet moments, but I crave conversations with people. The highlight of my day is meeting Eraserhead. Me, what about cosplayers? Mike-sensei, why that? Me, because you look like you're cosplaying a banana. I see the horror on all three faces. Did they find out? Mike-sensei, oh, I've been told that before. You didn't realize it was from the same person. Seriously, I'm disappointed. While I'm talking nonsense, the bandage breaks and I stumble to the ground. Mifu. Aizawa-sensei, are you okay? Me, yep, I'm fine. I put my hand on my side and feel something warm. My stitches have opened up. I take my hand away, and there's a lot of blood. Aizawa-sensei, are you alright? Is he seriously asking that while seeing the blood? Chapter End. Izuku POV. I feel like I'm someone else, like I'm in my body but not, as if every bit of control has been stripped away. What was that? I could hear everything, feel everything, but I couldn't do anything. Midnight. That was easier than I thought. Mike-sensei, and what do we do now? Midnight. Should I just put him to sleep? Or you can catch him with your scarf. Aizawa-sensei, I think the scarf is best. I see him put both hands on the scarf. No, that can't happen. I have to break free from this hypnotic state. It can't be that hard. I just need to escape. I've freed myself from chains before, and I've earned respect. It can't be that difficult. Everything seems to move in slow motion. The scarf comes closer and closer as I struggle to break free from this trance. Why isn't it working? I'm good at breaking things. I break my bones, my future, my expectations, all of these things are as shattered as my life. So why can't I break this hypnosis? I try again but with more force. At the last moment, just before the scarf wraps around me, I manage to break free from the hypnosis. But the scarf still ensnares me. I didn't have time to dodge. Aizawa, I'm sorry, but this is really for your own good. Me, it's not. I'll survive. Midnight, he managed to escape the quirk. Me, let go of me. Present Mike, I'm sorry listener. Me, I should have known not to trust anyone. You're really taking advantage of the fact that I'm hurt. It's ironic that I got this injury from betrayal, and now it's being used against me again. I thought you were different. Aizawa, it's not like that. Me? Oh really? I'm not laughing. I'm just asking you one thing. Are you satisfied that you caught me by breaking my trust? Aizawa POV. We caught him, but at what cost? Me, we just want to keep you safe. Karma, safety? I was safe. Nem, you're hurt, the wound can easily get worse. Karma, it's not my first injury, and it won't be my last. I've been through much worse. This is nothing compared to what I've faced. I now see behind Karma's mask. I don't see his face, but I see who is behind the smile, the joyful voice, the jokes he always makes. His cheerful character is just how he would have been without everything that's happened to him. Me, what exactly? Karma, I've been through hell and back. The wounds are nothing. Midnight, it's our duty. Karma, duty? Every time I've been attacked, I've taken a hit and then struck back. Everything I did was self-defense. I haven't used my quirk once, so I haven't broken any laws. I don't carry poison or drags to eliminate my opponent. The weapons you carry don't count as lethal either. I always have a stick and a small pocket knife with me, and the pocket knife isn't illegal to carry. So technically, I haven't broken a single law while looking like I've broken 100. We stand still. We don't have a single legal chance to hold Karma since he uses loopholes. Maybe there are still some rules left. Me, you're an injured civilian. As heroes, we have a duty to keep you safe. Karma, I know you can't hold me like this forever. You'll have to release me at some point. Me? Yes, at some point. I literally pray that Nizu comes up with something. Chapter End. Izuku POV. I'm sitting in front of Nizu. Present Mike, Midnight, Aizawa, and Tsukachi are also here. Nizu, I hereby offer you the opportunity to become a teacher. As I've seen, people's safety is very important. So, how could you not guarantee safety by training the next generation of heroes? Me, the next generation of heroes, you say? Ha! I wonder who these heroes you're talking about are? Let's see. A chihuahua who only deals with emotions by taking his anger out on others and shouting, Then we have an emotionless candy cane who literally has a heart of ice. Who else is there? Oh yes. A quirkless student who has run away and crossed the mountains. I would love to teach such a challenge. I might even beg you to let me go after the first week. Aizawa whispers you're not the only one. Nizu, do you have such a poor opinion of the students? Why won't you do anything to help them improve? Me, well I won't. They seem like a hopeless case. I'm far too young to be managing a group of emotional teenagers. Nizu, young? We said you were in your 40s. So I guess you're younger than that. Me, claiming I'm in my 40s is an insult. Nizu, as you can see, you don't really have a choice. Maybe all your vigilante work is legal, but the hacking wasn't. Me, let me get this straight. When I started my job as a vigilante, I wasn't even old enough to get into UA. Tsukachi, what? You're almost still a kid? Nizu, you've been a vigilante for 5 whole years. If I'm guessing correctly, you may have started at 14, so you must be around 19 now. You couldn't be any older than that. You could also be younger. I think 19 or 18 is a reasonable age to be a teacher. You've already shown that you're more capable than others your age. Me, let me clarify one more thing. I'm much younger than how could you even think I'm 19? Is it the way I dress? What makes me look like a 19-year-old, or how I speak or act? I started being a vigilante when I was 10. Tsukachi, what? So you're 15? And I was talking to you like you were already over 20. Nem, now I understand why you couldn't get my jokes. Me, because they're not very good. Aizawa, it's a strange feeling to discover that someone you thought was older than me is actually still a child. Me, oh, it can get even weirder. I turn off my voice changer. You hear a crunch before my real voice comes through again. Me, do you recognize me, Principal Nizu? I gave him the ultimate hint. They haven't heard my voice in a long time. So if they don't recognize it immediately, calling him Principal would make it clear that I was at this school and should still be 15, still a student here. Nizu, Midoriya? Me, it took you quite a while. Everyone gasps in shock. I feel Aizawa's arms wrap around me. I didn't know he was the type for hugs. Maybe he wanted to let go sooner, but Mike and Midnight also came in for a hug, and he definitely couldn't let go. Me, can you let me go now? Aizawa, never. I won't let you go again. Does he mean he won't let me leave, or that he won't let go and will keep hugging me? Soon I would find out it was both. Aizawa, now go to Recovery Girl. Me, what? Definitely not. She'll hit me with her cane. Aizawa, that's the main reason. Me, no way. Anything to say? I was dragged along unwillingly, muttering complaints all the way. Me? Hello, Recovery Girl. Recovery Girl, so you caught Karma. Aizawa and Midoriya. Recovery Girl. Really, that's great. I would never say this to him in person, but I see him like a grandson. When can I see him? Me. Aizawa. Me, so who says it? Aizawa, just take off the mask. Me, no way. I'd rather jump off a building. Aizawa, you've already done that. Me, it's alright. I didn't have time to react before he ripped the mask off my face. Me, huh? Sparkles surprise Sparkles. She just picked up her cane. When I said I wanted to go out in a cool way, I didn't mean it like that. Dad, he's hurt. Maybe do that later.